If we could all take our seat, that way we can start on time. We have some folks that need to leave tonight, so we want to be sure we get started on time.
Lulita. Vice Mayor, how are you? He can have my computer. Eric, you want mine?
They were only for Zoom, Commissioner. Mr. Quintana, are we ready? Okay, let's call this meeting to order. Thank you all for being here this evening with us. Today is Wednesday, May 19th, and this is the regular City Commission meeting of the City of West Miami, and it is 7:34. Madam Clerk, for the invocation, please rise.
Let's bow our heads. We thank you, Lord, for the opportunity to come and gather together tonight. We pray for healing of those who are sick and frail. As we have experienced so much hardship during these times, Lord, help us to come out of this pandemic better, not bitter. We ask that you would guide and direct our city leaders at this meeting so that it is full of wisdom, productivity, and respect for one another. We pray for the agenda set before them that would benefit those who live and work in and around our city of West Miami. We ask all this in your holy name. Amen.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Please stay standing. Moment of privilege. I'd like to introduce a City of West Miami resident to the podium. She's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Her name is Callie Carter. Callie, if you could come forward, please. Callie is going into 9th grade at Gulliver. She's 13 years old. And as I said, she is a City of West Miami resident. She's here this evening with her mom, Carmen. Callie is actually working on her Congressional Award. Let me explain Congressional Award to you just for a moment. It has 4 components. It is comprised of personal development, service, physical fitness, and expedition. I invited Callie and her mom quite a while back to join us at a meeting because I knew Callie was interested in government and things like that. So I'm very happy that they took me up on my offer and they're here this evening. So Callie, if you would lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Callie. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Item 3, roll call. Mayor Rhonda Rodriguez.
Present.
Vice Mayor Eric Diaz-Padrón.
Here.
Commissioner Candida Blanca. Commissioner Juan Blanes.
Here.
Commissioner Luciano Suarez.
Yes.
Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 4, presentation of minutes for approval for May 5th, 2021 regular commission meeting.
Motion.
Thank you.
Are all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Madam Clerk, before we proceed, I have a few changes to the agenda this evening. I would like to take out of order. 11D will be next, and then following that, 11A, and then we will get back to the order of the agenda.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Under new business agenda item is item 11D, is a presentation of Professional Management Matters Subcommittee 2021 ICMA. Recognized milestones by Sharon Ragunan, Manager in Transition for City of North Miami Beach.
Sharon, thank you for being here with us this evening. Welcome.
And thank you so much. And it's such a pleasure to be here, to receive such a warm welcome and reception from everyone, and to see familiar faces and friends. So I really appreciate the courtesy as well. And Callie, if you're really looking forward to a career in government, you will always have some exciting, challenging moments, and you'll always see growth. So I wish you luck, and we're all here to help you out, okay? So good luck with that journey. Mayor and Commission, good evening again. Again, it's an honor to be here and to be with you, the Commission, and the manager, as well as all the residents that you have here today. Again, my name is Sharon Ragunan. I am the District 5 Director with the Florida City County Management Association. I am a manager in transition, which means I'm no longer with the City of North Miami Beach, but I'm well established, and I look forward to a very bright future in the career of local government, so I appreciate it. However, on behalf of FCCMA, we're privileged to be here to present the City of West Miami with a certificate celebrating 2021 as your 40th year as a council manager form of government, which is recognized by the International City County Management Association. And on behalf of the Board of Directors, the members, and the officers of FCCMA, we offer our sincere congratulations on this milestone achievement. And many of you know already on the dais, but for the benefit of your audience here tonight, the council manager form of government was created to help separate administration from direct political influence and establish merit-based practices in local government. It is modeled after a corporation's framework, with the voters being your stockholders that select you as the commission as their board of directors, and then in turn you appoint a manager as your professional executive to advise you and implement your actions through ordinances and policies. In Florida, 70% of all 411 cities, towns, and villages operate under the council manager form of government. And of the 67 counties in the state, except two are professionally managed, rather. West Miami is recognized as a champion of the council manager form of government, where you have a commission that certainly works together to establish public policies that are in the interest of your stakeholders. And it's evident by your mission, which was to take pride in delivering efficient city services to your residents and to the businesses located in your municipal boundaries, as well as deliver optimal and personalized service. But without question, West Miami is fortunate to have Yolanda Aguilar leading your city. With over 38 years of local government and leadership experience, Yolanda is respected by professionals around the county as well as the state as someone who maintains the highest integrity and ethics, and is always willing to promote this community while helping those cities in need of assistance, and I can attest to that. Yolanda leads a city team committed to providing the highest quality of life possible to the residents of West Miami and serving from their hearts for this little big town. On behalf of FCCMA and all of the other council manager communities within our county and the state of Florida, we congratulate the City of West Miami on this milestone achievement of being a council manager community for over 40 years. And it's a pleasure for me to present you with this important certificate. Thank you again so much for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Sharon. I have to say, I love your description of us, and if, with your permission, I do plan to use it going forward. Little big town. I love it.
Well, I have
That, I love that.
Well, I have to admit, Mayor, I saw that on your website.
Yes.
Little big town. I love it. Good
And
job.
I loved it,
Thank you
yes.
for bringing it out.
That's in one of the captions from our 50th year
Little big
anniversary
town.
celebration.
Love it.
Correct,
Thank you,
yes.
Sharon.
And it's also on your mission statement on the website.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you
Yes,
for
ma'am.
publicly bringing it out during your
No problem.
presentation.
That's what we're here for, is to So again, just recognize the communities for all the good work that they do and the relationships that are established between the manager and the commission and how it benefits the community. And we're glad to do this at any point in time.
Perfect.
Thank you so much.
Did
Thank
you
you,
say you
Jen.
wanted to take photographs before you left?
I have a certificate for you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Wonderful
please.
presentation.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you
again.
very much.
Could we go forward to take a picture, everyone?
Yes, Mr. Quintana?
Wait a minute, did you just want all of us or you and Sharon? How
No,
did you
no,
want-
all of you, of course.
Dile que me dé. Dile que me dé una copia. Que me mande una copia de
Su presentación.
Sí.
Thank you, Sharon.
Thank you again for your kind words, Sharon.
And Madam Clerk, I would be remiss if I didn't mention, and I'm sorry I meant to mention it earlier, I want to welcome a very special guest we have this evening, Commissioner Rebecca Sosa, District 6 County Commissioner. Thank you for being here with us this evening. And for my 9th Street residents that are here, I know you're at the beginning of the meeting and public comments, but I'm taking an item prior to yours because I believe you'll want to hear about it. It's a building that's going to be on the corner of 64 and 9th. So you might have, some of you probably received our certified mailer about the 500-foot radius. We have to notify about public hearings. So I'm going to take it before so that you can hear everything about the building prior to public comments. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Madam Mayor, you requested item 11D and E out of order?
No, D and A.
A, okay.
D and A.
Is public hearing.
Right, public hearing, D and A.
Yes, item 11A, this is a public hearing. Property address 6400 Southwest 8th Street, West Miami, Florida 33144. This is a special use permit to the 2021-002. The applicant is 6400 Properties LLC, Ivan Herrera Luis Castro, 6400 Southwest 8th Street, West Miami, Florida 33144. Applicant requests a special use permit for the property at 6400 Southwest 8th Street, West Miami, Florida 32144. The property at 6400 Southwest 8th Street totals 149.11 feet wide by 266.3 feet long, and the existing building has 7,000 square feet of space. The applicant is requesting a special use permit to operate a medical offices with dental office center. The applicant will renovate the existing building with the existing floor plan layout for the medical offices and dental offices on premise. The total acreage for the C parcel is 0.445 acres, and the total acreage of the R5 or off-street parking for commercial parcel is 0.6255 for a combined total of 1.0701 acres. Zoning Ordinance 282, Section 2A 431.
Mr. Penna, are you going to present, or will the applicant present first? Go ahead, sir.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First of all, I'd like to say that I'm very excited to be here, and I wanted to introduce myself to the mayor and vice mayor and to the members of the commission. My name is Juan Carrera, and I'm with the law firm of Carrera and Amador. We represent Univida, and we also represent the owners of 64 Properties LLC, which is the building which we are very excited to be able to renovate and use as a medical facility. The applicant, by the way, Mr. Luis Castro is present. He is one of the owners of the property and of the Univida. We also have Dr. Rodriguez with us. He's going to be a very important and integral part of the project, and we're very excited to have him on board for this project. Tonight, we also have our architect, Eduardo Domina, with us, who's going to, I don't know, the end is silent, Munia. And we're going to go ahead and have a wonderful presentation. I saw it yesterday. I was impressed, even though I had already seen it on paper. But he has a nice digital presentation for the facility. So I'd like to be able to have him come on. He knows everything about the project. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be glad to address it at the end of his presentation. Thank you.
Mr. Carrera. Mr. Mujina, welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Carrera, pardon. Actually, it is a pleasure being back over here on this side. So I want to thank you all, Commissioner Blanca, Commissioner Luciano Suarez, Commissioner Blanes, Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón, and Madam Mayor. And of course, Yolanda Aguilar, the City Manager, the Clerk, Anita Gonzalez, and of course, Mr. Villalobos. It's a pleasure being here. Okay?
Great to see you.
Thank you,
Again.
thank you. So I guess I got to do the normal thing. My name is Eduardo Domina. I'm an architect with Red Design Group. Office located at 1000 Southwest 57th Avenue, Suite 202, West Miami, Florida. Also a resident of the City of West Miami at 6317 Southwest 10th Street. Very proud resident since 1986. Okay. First of all, I'm going to go right into the presentation. I know that I want you for a moment to imagine something. I know this property has a history. In previous presentation, you're looking at another medical facility. This is not it. This is a state-of-the-art medical facility. And how I came about this project, and the reason I'm here because I believe in this project. How I came about this project is Dr. Rodriguez, my client. I have worked for him, and also he introduced me to Univida, which are, the financial portion of it. And as you know, for a project to be successful, you have to have that financial backing. Dr. Rodriguez is very renowned in this community, very respected. And I think it will bring a tremendous, asset to the City of West Miami. With that said, this is a property that, as you know, it could be developed more than what it is right now. If you look at this property has been sitting there for over 5 years. The city is not benefiting from it. Actually, in my opinion, is an eyesore to the community, to the people that live next to it. You have a parking lot that anybody can park in there, anybody can move in there. The property hasn't been kept. It's dirty, etc. And the plan that they have, believe me, I fell in love with it because, first of all, it complies with 289. The only reason we're here today is because an S, in other words, an office for a doctor, it is allowed in the City of West Miami under this ordinance. But if you have offices, you're not allowed. Okay? So that's why we have this plan development. Okay? And with that, I'll go right into the presentation. I mean, this is something that we can have a building that is, 8 stories in the front. We can have a building that is 5 stories in the back. Our client chose to keep the property, remodel the property, which is a mid-century property, bring it to today's standard, and to service the community of West Miami. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would love to have a doctor, that I can walk to it, And this is, and by the way, I'm going to address the elephant in the room right now. This is not a mental facility. This is not a Baker Active facility that you're going to bring people. here. This is a medical office that complies with the parking. As a matter of fact, the required parking is 37. And, you know, also, well, they're talking about, that's what you have right there. And the next slide is going to show you what it's going to look like. And that's on the outside. So the parking complies. You know, we need, or actually we have a requirement of about 37 parking, and they have 60 parking spaces. So right there, it complies, and it goes above almost the double. It complies with the landscape. So basically, it complies with everything. As far as the facility inside, if you look at the floor plan, it's a medical center to provide primary care, dental office. It's going to have an X-ray room. It's going to have a laboratory for collection only. It's going to have physical therapy, and it's going to have a dispensary, which is actually a private pharmacy, only for the people that visit the facility. In other words, you can't go over there and buy and go to, it's like you go to CVS or Publix pharmacy or anything like that. This is strictly for the patients. With that, we can move on to, if, by the way, at the end, if you have any questions, you know, we'll be glad to answer the question. And then there's some images here. This is the front facade. Then as you turn on 64th Avenue, that's the side facade. That's the other side of the building, okay? The back of the building. Then a little shot from looking actually east. Again, the front. As you can see, they have incorporated something that is a signature of them, which is the louver. But those louvers are very important because they're going to, any air conditioning unit, any item that is on the roof is going to screen it from, especially the residential. Okay? And then, that's basically it. And then I'm going to leave you with a video so you can see how potentially this could be.
It's very nice.
So, any questions? Yes.
Let me open up the public hearing, and
Okay.
then we'll open it up for questions. Okay, this is a public hearing. I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone here signed to speak on this item, Madam Clerk?
I have a couple of members of the public, but I don't see anybody on the public hearing for this item.
If you haven't signed up and you do want to speak on this item, you may speak and then sign up after. That's fine. Okay, absolutely. Well, I will call you both. Commissioner?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Administration, Mr. Villalobos. I'm not here as a commissioner today. I am here as a resident of Miami-Dade County, and I love to see my neighbors that we see each other often, but not often enough to be together. So I'm here because I totally support this project. To think that in there we can have another nightmare of another apartment building, like the headaches that we are having right now on 9th Street, we cannot afford that. And this is something that is going to be offices that are going to be open until 5 o'clock only, and on Saturdays until 1 o'clock, I believe. Meaning they have extra parking. We are not going to have people parking in the streets next to the homes of the residents in the R1 area. So I am here to support. We have suffered for years. The city has suffered not to have something of value to offer to the community. And just think about so many people, so many seniors like me that are residents of the city, that we can take advantage of having good doctors and dental over there. So I am here because I wanted to express my support for something that is very low. We're not talking about 8-story, thank God, and we are not talking about having problems with parking or anything. Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate to be here. And thank you, Mr. Mayor Muiña, for the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Mr. Asbell?
Elliot Askew.
Good afternoon, good evening, actually. That's that 78-year-old mind forgetting again, what can I tell you? Elliot Asbell, Sunnyside Motel and Trailer Park, also 15345 Southwest 77th Court, Palmetto Bay, Florida, 33157. You are all aware that I, for more than 50 years, have been in your presence and the presence as a corporate citizen, although some were kind enough to call me this honorary title of 6th Commissioner. But the fact is, I love the city. This is not far from my property. I think it's a major enhancement. I just would address Commissioner Rebecca Sosa, who I respect eminently. See, I'm turning my head again.
I was just
You're
going to
about
tell you.
warm me.
Thank you for remembering. I was
About-
just going to tell you.
About to warm it. I understand and empathize with the regular homeowners and the problems that they're having with apartment house dwellers. You all know that I operate trailer parks, okay? The trailer parks are nowhere on a scale respected as domiciles as luxury apartment houses. I don't believe I need two hands to count the problems that my trailer parks have caused the city of West Miami in 50 years. That's because I'll pat myself and my staff on the back. Excellent management, always working in cooperation with the city. So I say the main problem of the apartment houses, which I heard from the May 5th meeting,
Elliot,
is management. I am through. I totally endorse this project. I think it is of the highest quality, and the people behind it, especially our prior mayor, are outstanding people. Thank you.
thank you, Elliot. Would anyone else like to speak on this item before I close the hearing? If you haven't signed up, you may do so after. Okay, upon seeing no one else wishing to speak, I will close the public hearing, and I will welcome the presenters back up for any questions from the table. And Mr. Pena, did you want to speak? Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Carrera or Mr. Mujina?
No, I don't have a question. I have a comments. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Mujina, your red design group, they did a good job. Because what you said about we may call the fence on top of it's obscure the view of anything on top of the roof. That's a very nice detail. Because sometimes you see buildings around and you see on top of the building the air conditioning, things like that. And that looks like it's another building totally. And I see the investment that come into the city. I see this distinguished gentleman that they are putting and they are going to put their muscle, the money. So congratulations to come to the city to do good investment and bring good things. And medical office that opens until 5, and it's a regular business type of business, and very elegant and decent. And to me, it's a great thing. I think we're very lucky that they found this property and they decide to make this investment.
Thank you.
Because really it's a decent new business for the city, really. Thank you very much. I congratulate you for it.
Thank you, Commissioner. I have some questions. I'm not sure if it would be for Mr. Mujina or Mr. Carrera. how many doctors, I see there's a lot of medical offices, a lot of rooms, how many, besides Dr. Rodriguez, how many doctors will you have in this building when it's all said and done, at capacity? How many
Well,
doctors?
At full capacity, the thing is, we don't know where the capacity actually is going to be and what the growth rate will be. But Dr. Rodriguez will be the one who determines, because he'll be the main medical director, so he'll determine the amount of doctors that will be attending the patients there. So the medical offices, I'm not, I don't recall.
Because I see
how many-
medical offices, I see dental offices.
Yes.
Labs, examination rooms.
Exactly. The number, Dr. Rodriguez can state that, because he's going to be managing the facility. I wouldn't know.
So what's your projected amount of doctors that will be practicing from here?
Hi, good evening. My name is Orlando Rodriguez. I'm a physician, and I'm going to be part of this project. Basically, it depends. I mean, every physician usually will live in with approximately 15 patients a day. So we don't want to overwhelm them. So it depends. I mean, on the number of patients that we're going to be seeing there. If we're going to have 30 patients a day, we probably have 2 physicians. As far as the dental part, we're going to have only 1 dentist in there. That's going to be probably seeing, it depends, the number of patients that we're going to be seeing. The lab part that you were mentioning, the lab is not, it's just to draw blood. But that has nothing to do with the physician, the number of physicians or anything. We're going to have someone, a phlebotomist, drawing the blood there for the patients to get seen and those that need labs.
So 2 doctors, 1 dentist?
Most likely, I mean, to begin with, it's just going to be myself. And I think at full capacity, perhaps 2 doctors. I mean, I don't foresee us seeing more than 30 patients a day. Usually, we just don't see that.
So employees, you would say,
So employees will probably, we're going to have a secretary, we're going to have probably a nurse assistant, a physician assistant. We're going to have a manager, an office manager, and probably a phlebotomist.
So 10 more? 10
or less.
10 or less employees?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And the reason I'm asking is because I know we mentioned parking, if there was, a lot of employees and doctors and they all parked in the parking, then where would the spaces be for the patients?
Sure.
And the reason I'm asking is I'm trying to avoid overflow parking on 9th Street because we have residents here on that I'm sure that they're concerned about that. So I wanted to be sure that your doctors, your employees, and your patients would fit in your parking area.
Right.
And also, Mr. Mujina, this might be, you might not, the exit onto 9th Street, do we have to have that exit onto 9th Street for traffic?
No, that's a point that we had discussed before, and we decided to close it, the exit that towards the back. Yeah.
64th Avenue? Can we only have an ingress and egress on 8th Street? Why?
You get to,
Yes, I'm sorry. To have the entrance and exit on, we're talking about major modification in the building. You don't have the width capacity to do that because the building takes the frontage of 8th Street. And also the property is too narrow for that because when you have an entrance and exit, they need to be a certain feet apart. And basically the second entrance will be put it like right in the middle of the building, which means we will have to demolish portion of the building too. So I think, we can compromise. We can eliminate the one on 9th Street, but the way the parking is laid out, we can have the entrance on 64th and another exit on 64th, but also you have an exit onto 8th Street already. So basically you have 8th Street, one exit, you don't have an entrance, you have an exit, and then you have an entrance and an exit on 64th.
Next to the building, there used to be the teller, the drive-through
Right.
teller. That's not large enough, a large enough area for an
The-
entrance and an exit?
That portion, if you look at the floor plan, that's where the pharmacy is going to go, on that area. So
A drive-through
if-
pharmacy or no?
No, it's not.
No, just a pharmacy?
No, remember, I call it a pharmacy but it's dispensary. So basically, it's for internal use. So you don't have a drive-through. But if I can approach over there on the site plan, I can show you what I'm talking.
I'm just trying to avoid as much traffic into the residential streets as possible.
I know I don't have a microphone here, but this area right here, if you notice, that's where we are in that portion of the building. So you have a bypass lane that goes on the side that is already there. It's dedicated, so you're gonna have an exit on Main Street. But as you can see, the building takes the rest of it.
Mr. Muñoz,
Yes.
for the record, could you bring the map in here and speak to the mic, please?
Or can we go back to, can you take a look at the screen, please? Can you go back to the site plan? Okay. If you look on the top, the building takes most of the frontage. As you can see, you have a narrow frontage. You have, the back of the property is wider, but that's the area where we want to protect the residents. So we don't mind closing that entrance and exit. But on the front, it's not feasible to have an entrance. And as a matter of fact, in order to provide, another bad point about it, you're concerned about parking. If we provide an entrance and an exit on A Street, we will be eliminating parking. Right now, the required parking for that property is 37 parking spaces. We have 60 parking spaces. So if you do the numbers, the doctor said about 30 patients a day, and that's during an 8-hour period. So you're not going to have 30 patients or 30 cars there. So personally, I don't see an issue with the traffic. I understand that, you know, you want to bring all that traffic onto A Street, but it's not physical without doing some major. You'll be looking at another building.
But we can eliminate the 9th Street.
We can eliminate the 9th Street.
Fair enough.
Okay. We're in agreement, right? Okay.
And I also have a question on the hours, because I noticed something different on the memo here than what was mentioned. What are your hours going to be on Saturday? I heard 8 to 1, and here it says 8 to 12.
8 to 3.
Well,
8 to 3
originally,
is here.
we modified it because we had
No, it
from
says
8 to
8.
3, but we changed it back to 8 to 1 o'clock. So that will be the hours of operation for
So it's
the
8,
weekends.
it's 8 to 1.
8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Mr. Penna, your memo has 12, so it's 8 to 1. Okay. And Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. That
Banker's
hasn't
hours.
changed.
Well, even shorter than banker's hours.
And during the evening, there'll be nobody in the building, no
one in the building.
physical presence?
No physical presence. Anyone who calls the building will be attended to by a remote third-party answering system. So if they have an emergency, the remote third-party, a third-party contractor, will be able to field the calls and make the appropriate recommendations or referrals. But we will not be having anybody on the premises after 5 o'clock.
Wonderful. Last but not least, Dr. Rodriguez, I'm very pleased with the presentation. We had to cancel all of our events this year because of COVID, but we have some standard annual events, so we'll be knocking on your door as a corporate sponsor once you're established in the city of West Miami. Good, thank you for that. Look forward to that. Anything else? Any other questions?
I have comments. I'm familiar with this property. This property has a lot of history in the city of West Miami, a lot of history, not good history. I'm really pleased that this team has gotten together to put this project together. It's great. I especially love it has about 40% more parking than required. And obviously, it's not a a high density in terms of traffic density project to begin with. I think at the end of the day, we have to decide whether this use fits the property, and I think it's pretty clear that it does. So I'm in favor of it, and I hope my colleagues are as well.
Thank you very much.
Madam
Are
Mayor,
there any other questions or comments?
Yes.
Yes, Commissioner.
I really do hope that the property is well maintained after hours. I hope that there's a janitor maybe that can patrol the parking lot, and if there's any garbage or it can be picked up, and so it can blend in with the nearby residential area. That's one issue that we have with commercial property next to residential. A lot of garbage, a lot of debris. The wind blows it into the neighbor's house, and then they complain. So it'd be great if there could be some kind of implemented management upkeep, done on a daily basis.
Absolutely. The offshoot of this facility is Univista Insurance, which is owned by Ivan Herrera and Luis Castro. And I don't know if I'm speaking out of school, but Ivan Herrera is obsessive. He's also obsessive compulsive about cleanliness. I have an office where at my office is on Lejeune, which is owned by Univista, and he patrols the area to make sure there are no cigarette butts from the secretary. So this is how obsessive he is about cleanliness.
You'll be doing the same thing here, right, sir?
Absolutely.
Very good.
That pleases me, and I think it would behoove you all to maintain the property that way. That way it can be an example, to others. So
thank you.
Thank you.
I have a comment for the neighbors.
Go right ahead, sir.
I have a comment for the neighbors in the 9th Street, because they were the other day here, and I have been driving. By the way, I've been driving through the street and watching, since the last commission meeting, different hours. If I go out, I can come in, and I see what you said, that is the driveways, old style, narrow. But there is one thing. For years, there was a bank there. And when the bank was in business, we never have a problem in the 9th Street, even the traffic. And the bank, they have customers and they have traffic, because they have a good parking lot there. They have 60 spaces. So I think the traffic and the parking, we will not have. If we don't have problem with the bank in the 9th Street, I don't think we will have trouble with this office, maybe, because I don't see the spaces is double almost of what is required. And if we have the experience for many years with the bank, I don't see anything, I don't see in the future that we will have any problem with the traffic. And the people who come to the medical office, they don't make trash they don't throw things to the street. That's not the problem with the medical, because we have other offices by 57th Avenue, and that we don't have problem with the customers that comes to see the doctor. The people comes clean and they take care of everything, so I don't see any problem for the traffic, which is the main problem in the 9th Street.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any other comments, concerns, or questions
I'd like to make
for
a
the
motion.
presenter?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
I have a
Second.
motion. I have a second. I have a first and a second. Call the vote, Madam Clerk.
We have to read the resolution, Madam
Oh, I'm
Mayor.
sorry. Yes, please read the resolution.
Yes.
And we still will maintain our motion and our second. Read the resolution,
Yes.
please.
Okay, item 11B, a resolution of the Mayor and City Commission of the City of West Miami approving a special use permit application by owners of the land on behalf of Univida Medical Center, Inc., a special use permit 2021-002, located at 6400 Southwest 8th Street, West Miami, Florida, listing requirements for special use permit thereof and other terms pursuant to zoning ordinance 282 and subject to approval from any other state and federal agencies, providing for an effective date. Motion by Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón, second by Commissioner Suarez. Commissioner Blanes, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanca? Commissioner Suarez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón,
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez.
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Doctor, this has nothing to do with your presentation or your application, but congratulations. Today is the doctor's wedding anniversary. So congratulations, sir.
So many thanks to the commission and to the mayor. We really appreciate that. We're going to make you proud of Univida as well. Thank
If
you.
not, we know where you are, and we will come knocking on your door. Trust
Thank
me.
you.
I believe
Trust me, we will.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a success, really.
Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Mr. Muiña, you did a good job with the work, with the architect work. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, do you want to sit here for just a second before you leave, now that your presentation's over? Thank you. Madam Clerk, if we could go back to the order of the agenda, please.
Yes, back to the original order of the agenda. Item 5, public comments. And for public comments, we have a couple of members of the public who would like to address the commission.
Madam Clerk, if we could take Michael Smart first. He asked to speak first on this item.
Yes, Madam Mayor, Michael Smart.
And for the record, Madam Clerk, I am waiving the time limit to speak. The residents may speak as long as they feel they have the need to.
Duly noted.
Remember, name and address for the record, please.
Excuse me. Good evening. Name is Michael Smart, 901 Southwest 63rd Avenue. I'm also a proud resident for like 23 years plus.
Excuse me, Madam Mayor, I think for the benefit of the record, if we could all speak a little bit louder because of the boxed-in situation, I don't think the voices
Speak
are...
into the microphone, Mr. Smart.
Thank you.
I'll gladly sing. Would you like that?
No, 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 no. No, 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 no. It's okay.
All right. First of all, I want to say thank you for all of you. Thank you for the issues that we have discussed on the previous meeting, that you are taking it seriously. As stated, this is not an individual problem, but as a conglomerate, it is our problem. I have noticed an improvement over the last 2 weeks. However, this is a dent and not a solution. If the guard is let down on these issues, the problem will return and probably be worse. The building is for sale. Actually, I just heard, if I'm not wrong, the building was just sold. I don't know if that's true or not. But the building is for sale, and it's fair. If agreement and policies are not enforced now, then the problems will get worse. This administration has had a hard stand that signage of any kind cannot be part of a solution. And I remain pretty much steadfast that perseverance with the county on your part as a municipality can reach some form of approval. I am in deep appreciation of the police for what they are doing to discourage those who park illegally, but if this is a permanent problem, what methods can be met to make their job easier, together with the residents who are seriously affected, and they stand behind me. Please keep in mind that parking issues that have increased affect garbage pickup, recycle pickup, street cleaning, and bulky pickup, which I have witnessed that on my next door neighbor. In addition to this, we are back on the pet issues. On our last meeting, which was 2 weeks ago, it was just the very next morning that we had a mobile pet truck right on 63rd Avenue adjacent to my home. In addition to that, it was about 2 days later, there was another one on 9th Street. I believe that mobile dog grooming vehicles that are parked in these locations should be actually parked at the building facility. You have bays over there that these vehicles can park on. They should not, I think, be parked in front of our homes. So I hope that the administration can work with the apartment management and work out something that doesn't happen anymore. I don't know if there's an ordinance on dogs being on a leash. I don't know if that's the case or not, but some of these people who have pets, they walk around and their dogs are free to go where they want to go. And those pets know they have to stay close enough to their owners. However, I have a neighbor behind me, and I hope she talks. Those same dogs will go in her property and dig up her flower beds. And the people who walk these dogs, they don't care. They don't care about the money invested into their properties and try to keep them nice. So I think that overall is something that we should be all concerned about. In regards to DNA testing that we heard many moons ago, I think that's a joke. I personally have to pick up dog matter in my hedge, and I refuse to take that and go over to that building and say, hey, can you check the DNA on this? I'm not going to do that. I'm too old for that. I don't think that's my responsibility. I think if they have security over there, that security guy that I have seen only goes around the garage. I never see that security guy going on 9th Street or all around the facility. So to me, that's something that maybe should be addressed. It basically comes down to us, all of us, sharing these problems and the actions that the building and the tenants should not be defended, but more so mitigated to the overall understanding on both sides that we have issues. It's pretty sad to say that some of these people who do come within the residents of the city are rude to the residents that live in that city who have been here far longer than the ones who are now renting. And let's face it, they're transient. They're going to be here today and they're going to be gone tomorrow. So I don't think that, although we had this meeting 2 weeks ago, that this is something that we come back here tonight to discuss, that it's going to go away so easy. Just because it has improved a little in the last 2 weeks, again, if we let our guard down, again, it's just going to get worse. So I'm here pleading with all of you to see what can we continue to do to see if we can make this not be a problem further down the road. And that's all I have to say. Oh no, one more thing. The first presentation tonight, I think we just found 30 extra parking spaces. So maybe you want to think about that. Anyway, that's all I have to say tonight, and hoping I hear something good from the manager that we're on the road to resolvement with the administration over there. And I wait to hear. Thank you.
Let me ask you, Madam
Thank
Manager.
you very much.
I do know that you have, thank you, Michael. I do know that your report is an agenda item. Did you want to give your report during public comments, or?
It's at your discretion, Madam Mayor, and obviously the
I
commission.
will ask the 9th Street residents. We do have a report. We promise you a follow-up report. Would you like the manager to give that to you now during your comments, or do you want to continue with your comments? Do we have anyone else who would like to speak this evening?
We have a couple of residents here.
Okay,
Madam
well,
Mayor,
let's
we would like to
go ahead
address
and
you.
hear the residents, and then the manager will give her report. We'll take the report out of order, Madam Clerk. We'll take her report next. Anyone else to speak? Yes.
Buenas noches.
Good evening.
Ajá. Mi nombre es Maida Cover.
Bájalo un poco más. si
My
se
name
puede.
is Maida Colbert.
Ajá. Y yo vivo en el 990.
I live at 990
Southwest.
Southwest
63rd Avenue.
63rd Avenue. There you
Ajá.
go.
Entonces he tenido muchos problemas ahí en ese edificio.
I've had a lot of problems there due to that building.
Hacen caca en el césped mío.
The dogs come onto my yard and they poop.
No los recogen.
They are not picked up.
Ajá. Yo me paso todo el tiempo barriendo. No sé si ustedes me han visto que yo barro y barro y barro.
I spend all of my time sweeping around, in and around my property, and I'm sure you have seen me. That's all I do all day long.
Ajá. Entonces, hace poco hubo una señora que sacaba los perritos sin el arreo.
A short while ago, there was a lady who took out the dogs without a leash.
Ajá. Entonces yo le dije, van a matar ese perro porque tú lo tienes suelto. Eran dos perros.
And I told her, the dogs are going to get killed. Why do you keep them without a leash?
¿Y tú sabes lo que me dijo?
And do you know what she said?
Vieja loca, cállate, no te metas en lo que no te importa, porque esos no son tus perros.
They called me crazy lady. These are not your dogs, and this is none of your business.
Ajá. Entonces, hay otros perros que van sueltos también hay dos que son French Bulldog de esos.
And then there are 2 other French Poodle dogs.
Llevan los toys, los juguetes, y se ponen a jugar en mi hierba.
And they take them to my yard with their toys, and they allow them to play in my yard.
Como si mi patio, no de la ciudad, sino el mío, fuera un parque de ellos, de los perros.
As if my yard, my private personal yard, was a park for the dog.
Ajá. Entonces, los perros, los domingos, principalmente, los dejan fuera en los balcones y ladran y ladran y ladran y ladran y ladran.
On Sundays, mostly on Sundays, dogs are left in the balcony area alone, and they spend their day barking, barking, barking.
Ajá. En los balcones hacen mucha bulla de noche, son las 11, las 12 de la noche.
There's a lot of noise in the balcony area between 11 o'clock and midnight. It gets very noisy.
Y están hablando alto de viernes para sábado, de sábado para domingo, en los balcones, que todo se oye en mi patio.
And during the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, they speak so loud that you can hear it from my home, from my yard.
Entonces, otra cosa.
Another thing.
Parquean al lado de donde yo, y cuando viene alguien a visitarme a mí, no hay parqueo.
So they park on the right-of-way area in front of my property, and when I have visitors, they have nowhere to come and park.
Entonces yo he hablado con muchos de ellos que por qué ellos se tienen que parquear ahí.
I have spoken to many of them and asked them why they have to park there in front of my house.
Me han dicho que el parqueo vale mucho.
And
they no tienen dinero para pagar.
And they have advised me that the parking is very expensive and that they have no money to pay.
Y entonces es nada más que para un solo carro, si quieres extra, tienes que pagar mucho más.
And that there's only parking for one vehicle inside the building, and you have to pay more for additional parking.
Es mucho problema ese edificio ahí. Y lo más lindo del caso,
A lot of problems in that coming from that building.
que cuando hicieron ese building, dijeron, no, ahí van a venir gente de milloneta, de dinero, y lo menos que han venido son gente de dinero, lo que ha venido una perrera, que es lo más grande de la vida.
Translate that exactly, Madam Manager.
Oh my God!
See?
That's the hardest thing.
Translate that exactly.
So
please.
initially, when the building was presented to us, that we
Viven
were
más perros ahí
advised.
que personas. Más perros que personas, toda raza, todo color.
Espera, please translate
Mayra,
word for word.
espérate, Mayra.
Si tiene que repetirlo, yo quiero.
When the building was built, we were advised that, I'm sorry? Sí, yo sé. Okay. So when the building was presented to us, to the community, we were advised that it was going to be an upscale building where people were going to come, and upscale families. And now it has resulted that there are more dogs in the building than people living in the building.
Thank you, Madam Manager. Gracias, Maida. Gracias. Gracias. Mr. Asbel, please.
We have more speakers, Madam Mayor.
Okay. Miss,
I'll wait for last.
I didn't know we had more. Do you mind? I didn't know we had more. I'm sorry. I thought that she was the last one. Thank you. Thank you, Elliot. I didn't realize we had more. Thank you, sir. Who's next, Madam Clerk?
Teresa Fuentes Smart.
He said, you sure? Okay.
And we have Elena Bullrich.
Okay, fair enough. Then Elliot, I'm sorry, did you want to speak? Please. And if you haven't signed, you may sign and just give your paper to the clerk. Not now, after the meeting, it's fine. Okay.
Okay, my name is Iris. Can I speak in Spanish?
Yes, the manager will
Mi nombre
translate.
es Iris, I'm sorry, my name is Iris. There you go ahead.
Vivo en la 6326 Southwest 9th Street.
I reside at 6326 Southwest 9th Street.
Y esta noche estamos aquí esperando a ver el resultado de lo que ustedes nos van a decir.
And this evening, we're here waiting for the results of what you guys, what you all are going to come back to let us
si
know.
tenemos buenas noticias.
Hoping for better news, good news.
El domingo tuvimos que hacer un reporte en mi casa
On Sunday of last week, we had to file a police report.
en la parte de arriba del edificio
On the top part of the building,
había niños jugando.
there were children playing.
Saltaron a una de los techos de los apartamentos.
They jumped over to a portion of the room of the roof of the building,
Que ahí no hay nada, nada.
and there's nothing there.
Tuvimos que llamar a la policía
We called the police department
para que recogieran a esos niños, porque eso es
so
un
that they
peligro.
can come and take care of the children, from keeping them from harm's way, if you would.
Yeah, so, eso también es otro problema que está habiendo ahora.
And now that is yet another problem that we're experiencing there now.
Okay, gracias.
Gracias. Anyone else? Yes, sir?
Good evening. My name is Frank Hernandez, 6387 Southwest 9th Street. Last time I was here, I used the word a total disaster. To me, my opinion, is still a total disaster. Just to make it short, just coming to the meeting today, about 30 minutes ago, I was coming out of my house and I see this little girl about 2 years old with her mom on the phone talking to somebody, and the girl is in my yard playing, not with dirt, but all the garbage, everything that is there, all the pee from the dogs and all the everything. And I told the lady, why you let her play with all that dirt? It's a lot of bacteria there, and why would you do that? It's not on my business, I'll just say. Say, all right, but you know what? This is my property right here. So, and then she kept going. Saturday morning, my wife gets up and it said, did you see what we have on the driveway? We have dog poop over there. Unfortunately, we had cameras, but we didn't catch that because the motion didn't click onto it. But I don't know if we have a solution. I don't know if the committee has a solution, or at least an idea what we could do to remedy this problem that we have. And all the speakers over here, I hear them, it's the same problem that I have. So I hope there is an idea or a solution to this problem. To me, it's a disaster. And I want some peace of my life, really. At my age right now, I'm ready to go. So I appreciate anything that you guys could do for our community, at least that block. I know you guys doing a great job every place else, but this block is a disaster to me. Thank you very
Frank.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Anyone else? Mrs. Smart?
Good evening. Teresa Fuentes Smart, 901 Southwest 63rd Avenue. I wasn't going to speak because I'm actually very exhausted. My mom has dementia, so it's 24/7 for me. So I wasn't here last time because of that. My 19-year-old son decided to, Mom, will you go? I'll take care of Abuela. So I have serious concerns because when the citizens come with what we think is a solution, if that's not a viable solution, then it's up to the administration to come back with a rebuttal. This is the solution for you. I think appeasement to the building is not an option, and we need to have some teeth, because somebody else here told us as we were walking over that the building was sold. From day one, I was concerned that they did not close the road, and there was actually two buildings. So when we came in here, we thought, okay, they're approving the closing of the road. The entrance is going to be through 8th Street. It was going to be all this beautiful, you know, Mr. Tony Castro, if he's looking at this, he promised the world. He's very charismatic, but I saw through that. One thing is the reality, when people start moving there, and the caliber, right, of people that are going to move in there. So if we don't have a solution for the ones now, if it's sold, if indeed it's sold, what teeth do we have to do anything? Are we going to go like this? Police is not going to be, the traffic cops, right? They're there to protect us. I'm sorry, by the way, I was listening from home. The speaker here is horrible. When you were translation, I couldn't hear. That was the other day, so just as a side note, the people that are at home might not be able to hear your translation. So, or visual too, the camera. I guess it's because
that
of
would
the
be
screen.
through the website?
No, I was on TV.
I know that. That's why we're streaming on the website
Okay.
and on YouTube,
Okay.
because we understand we have
Yeah.
issues and that's pretty much a cable company
Gotcha,
issue.
gotcha. I just
too.
wanted to ask a side note.
Thank you.
So we need to have a solution. We are all residents of the city. I feel the pain of the folks on 9th Street because I walked with Michael and I'm looking at that building. I'm saying, wow, we think we have it bad. At least we have the circle. We have the yellow lines that they cannot park there. They still park there, but we have to then rely on the police. The grooming vehicles, they're parking even where the double yellow lines, the police comes and say, hey, you cannot park there. They just move down the road. And, okay, that's a right-of-way. They can be there. I mean, neighbors have these vehicles that come to clean their dogs, but they're in their property, right? But we need to do something as a body. You know, neither Marco and I are here looking for a political position. We are here as residents of the city. We have no agenda other than we want the small town, right? Was it the little big town? We love that.
Yeah, little big town.
Yeah, the little big town. We love that, right? And we love that everybody on this board, everybody, you know, Yolanda, we're all in this community. So if this is your home, if somebody's coming into your home, you just clean your house, right? You clean your house. And somebody comes in and start junking it up. You spend a lot of time cleaning your house. Are you going to allow that into your house? No. That's why we have our doorway and we let who we want in. Now, we cannot do that, but we have to how do we enforce it? If the signs is not an option, if we cannot go to the county, I mean, that's why we have municipalities, right? Municipalities have stricter laws than the county. The county's a little more lackadaisical. That's why we have municipalities. That's why municipalities, that's why we have the Palmetto Bay, the Cutler Bay. They were frustrated because the counties could not reach out to them. So they have the municipalities to take care of the residents of the city. We need to come together. And that, back to my concern when they made two buildings, I said it that day, if you look at the record is, one building has the pool and all the beautiful amenities. The other one that's in front of us has nothing. If they now outright sell the two, who is it going to be attracted to there? Because now we see it all the time. They cross the street. It's true what a gentleman said in the last meeting. I heard they're crossing the street to go to the pool on the other side. That is fine. Again, it's not fine to, it's not South Beach. Put on a shirt. I was raised differently. Okay, you walk in my house, you better have a shirt on, unless you're in the pool. That's just out of respect. So yes, they should not be crossing the street without a shirt. But I've seen them the other evening, it was Saturday, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That's when the lady takes care of my mom got there, so we were going to do our errands. I drove 63rd. I think I was down 4 or 5 blocks, and there was a family walking. They were not coming from the beach. I don't know. They were obviously going to the building. They parked 4 or 5 blocks further down. So they're walking all the way down there, parking to walk to the building. Again, maybe he said joking about the new development can give some, vehicle space to park there. I don't know. We need a solution, right? And another thing, overnight parking. We had a park with a tag of Virginia for 2 days, and it was parked in an area that was okay. They could park there. It's in the right of way. 2 days, Virginia tag. We cannot do anything. Why? Not even in Florida. It's Virginia. Why are they parked there 2 days, not moving the vehicle? One thing is, okay, they're allowed to park there, but why are they there? We've always had a very safe community. West Miami always had the, anybody would drive to West Miami, well, you better slow down. Police gives you a ticket for years. I love that. You better slow down. You come in here, we mean business. It's like when you leave Florida, you go to Georgia. Slow down, you're going to get a ticket. That's West Miami. We need to make sure that those coming into the city, we need to educate them, not accommodate them. We need to educate them to our standards in the city of West Miami. And that's it. I don't want to take up any more of the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Smart.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Elliot, do you want the manager to give her report first? I'm sorry, yes, someone else?
What I'd like to do, Madam Mayor, is after the commission speaks.
Okay.
So the continuity.
Okay, that's fine.
Buenas noches.
Good evening.
Mi nombre es Magali Gutiérrez.
Habla en el micrófono.
My name is Magalis Gutierrez.
Y vivo en la 6316.
I live at 6316
Southwest
9th
Street.
9th Street.
Primero que, ante todo, yo me uno a todo lo que han planteado.
First of all, I unite my voice with everyone who has spoken.
Como la esposa, como Mayra. Yo me uno a eso, me uno también a las observaciones que han
Everyone
hecho.
here in the room who has spoken, I unite my voice to what they have said.
Y una de las más afectadas
And one of the most affected
por ese edificio,
due to the building
somos nosotros,
is our family.
que tenemos nuestra puerta
We have our door.
con la puerta de ellos, por donde entran y salen las personas.
Our door
Es decir, que
faces the door where they
una de las cosas
building, where the people come into the building and exit the building.
cuando yo abro para salir,
When I open up to exit my home,
mi vista es a la puerta de ellos,
my
a la
view is
puerta
their
del
door,
edificio.
is the door of the building.
Eso es una de las cosas.
That's one of the things.
Realmente todo lo que le pueda yo relatar,
Anything that I'm able to provide you with,
todo lo que pueda yo relatarle es poco.
anything I say, I'll be shortchanging
Ya que yo
myself.
no trabajo,
Since I am not
y al
employed,
no trabajar,
and
entro y salgo y entro.
so I'm constantly in and out of my house,
Y lo que veo es mucho,
and I see a lot of things.
demasiado.
Too much.
Pero bien,
But okay,
es la vida de las personas, del público, de los
it's
inquilinos.
people's lives,
Pero hay cosas que son, uno tiene que tener principio, educación,
but there are other things that are fundamental,
comportamiento, que ya
guided
eso
by
es,
principle and behavior,
que ya eso es personal.
and that is a personal thing.
Son muchas cosas. Uno de los ejemplos que puedo poner
One of the examples that I will say
es que en el ciclo pasado que recogieron la basura reciclada, que es
last
cada
time
15
they picked
días,
up the recycling,
el tanque no pudo recoger el de nosotros, de
the
la casa.
truck could not pick up our recycling.
¿Y cuál fue la razón? La razón es que había un carro, un vehículo parqueado ahí que no le permitía.
The reason they were not able to pick up my recycling is
No le
because there was a
permitía, es
vehicle
decir que-
parked on the public right of way
Es decir, que mi
that
basura,
was blocking or inhibiting the truck to pick up our recycling.
es decir, que mi basura reciclada la tengo yo guardada para cuando vuelvo.
So my
a trabajar.
recyclables are actually, I had to put them away and wait till the next pickup.
Otra de las cuestiones que han sucedido ahí y que somos nosotros los afectados,
Another one of the examples
le-
that we have that we have gone through there, and of course we are the ones that are affected.
ya no le voy a hablar de la basura reciclada,
I'm not going to talk to you about the recyclables.
le voy a hablar de esa basura que es 2 veces semanales.
I'm going to talk to you now about the garbage collection, which is twice a week.
Es que parquea, si parquea hacia adelante o parquea hacia atrás, mi basura está ahí.
So even if you have a vehicle parks in front of my house and I have my garbage in the front, irrespective of where people park, it blocks the view of that garbage that is on the right of way.
Y la han tumbado.
And they have actually knocked it over.
Voy yo y la recojo.
So I go out there and I pick it up.
No ha sucedido una vez, han sucedido varias veces.
This has happened several times.
Tengo que barrerlo porque es mi parte.
So I have to sweep it
lo
up
que
and
yo
pick it up because it is my area.
No estoy acostumbrada a estas cosas.
And I am not used to leaving things like that.
Lo último es que los otros días, cuando yo estaba barriendo, me encontré con una, porque se ha visto de todo en la basura.
And the other day, as I was cleaning up, I came across
Se ha visto de todo en el césped.
something,
De todo.
we see all kinds of things in the
Cuando
lawn.
le digo de todo, de todo. Ya lo último es que me encontré con una bolsita de marihuana. Yo le
So
tiré la foto.
the last thing I found most recently is a little bag of
De
drugs.
droga. Yo le tiré la foto.
And I took a picture.
Es decir, que todo lo que le puedan contar los demás que viven allá, o en la esquina, o allí, yo que estoy de frente a frente.
Yeah. So anything that you hear from the
Es
surrounding
poco, es
area,
poco.
I'm right in front of the building.
Muchas veces que yo me he quedado así mirando, digo, pero esa cosa es los hombres en calzoncillo,
And so I look sometimes up in the building to the balcony areas, and I've seen men in underwear.
¿Y por qué uno mira? No porque yo quiera mirar,
And why do I look?
sino porque solamente si tú estás hablando para él y para mí, yo levanto la vista, ¿no?
So if you're talking, you know, you usually look.
Tú hablas bajito, no, que hablas para ellos
So
y para
their
nosotros.
voice carries, they speak
Y
loud.
uno quiera o no quiera, tiene que levantar la vista.
So irrespective of whether you want to look or not, I'm attracted due to the how their voice travels.
Porque esas conversaciones, tú dices, oh, se están fajando, se están peleando.
Yeah, conversations when people are engaged in
dices,
disputes
no está
or
en
having
short.
an argument.
No está en short.
And
Salen en bata de baño.
they come out with their
Bueno,
robes.
¿Estamos dónde?
Where
Son
are we?
cosas que tú dices, bueno, ¿estamos dónde?
Where are we?
Y ya también muchas cosas. Cosas que la farmacia la llevan las medicinas.
And pharmacies deliver their medications.
Ajá, las llevan a las casas. Ya te piden permiso para entrar a tu parqueo. Para
And they-
ellos llevar la medicina.
So they actually ask you to allow them to park in your parking space so that they can take the medicines over to the buildings.
Es decir que es un rosario. Yo lo que no puedo es estar delatando todos los días y todos los días.
And every day I shouldn't have to be like jotting down or keeping a diary, if you would, of everything that happens.
Pero sí suceden muchas cosas.
But a lot of things occur.
Suceden demasiadas cosas. Y
Too
creo
many
que-
things.
Y considero que, bueno, no sé, claro, es la disciplina. Es la
And
educación.
that they need, we need discipline in the
Pero
area.
también deben ahí poner un control.
But there should be some kind of control
Control a la salida y entrada de los carros. Que
for the cars that come in and out of the area.
yo vuelvo y le repito, estoy ahí porque no trabajo.
I repeat it again. I'm there because I am not working.
Bueno, pues nada, muchas gracias.
Thank
Gracias,
you.
señora. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Madam Manager, Madam Clerk, if we could take out of order the manager's report at this time, which is 10C.
Yes, Madam Mayor. Item 10C, follow-up report in reference to Alameda Southwest 9th Street ongoing issues. This item was left to report at this meeting at the May 5th, 2021 Commission meeting.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Commission, and I think I think we will all agree, and the persons in the audience, our residents, my neighbors too, in the audience, are going to hear something that they may not like, and I think you may have heard that. And before I start, I'd like to tell you that the report is based on what the city can and cannot do, okay? What can be enforced and what cannot be enforced. And basically where our rights begin and where they end because of the, private property versus government. That being said, I have a report as a follow-up. I'd like to also advise you that I met with Michael and Terry Smart at District 6 Commission office about a week or 10 days ago before we had a meeting with the estates companies. The meeting was supposed to take, with the estates company was supposed to be on a Tuesday or Wednesday, and it was actually held on Monday in anticipation of those changes. But I was invited to attend the District 6 office and attend a meeting where Mr. and Mrs. Smart conveyed all of their concerns and went to our district commissioner to see what basically could be done at her level to remedy the situation. So I thank you for allowing me to be there at that meeting, Madam Mayor, but I was under instructions from my mayor and my city commission to write a report as a follow-up. as these individuals and neighbors came up to the podium at the last commission meeting, I made handwritten notes of everything they touched upon. And I want to go through those items because I listed them separately. And they spoke about, at the last commission meeting, about ongoing parking situation, nuisances, food deliveries, violations, blocked driveways, requests for residential parking signs along Southwest 9th Street, and increased use of parking by building tenants or visitors from the Alameda in the city. The dog poop, the litter on the city right-of-way areas, and fear of smell coming from the Alameda building on persons that were allegedly smoking marijuana. After several residents who spoke, I tried to break these down as simple as possible. We met with Alameda to discuss all these issues. We met with the estates companies, and I believe the estates is represented this evening by Ms. Janet Bravo. She's in the audience. And on Monday, May 11th, 2021, my office, along with Mr. Pena and Chief Avila, met with two representatives of the estate companies, Mr. Tony Castro and Ms. Janet Bravo, at 10 a.m. in our building to discuss parking by the tenants and visitors in the city's right-of-way area, the dog poop, and all the things that I mentioned on the onset of my report. We came to find out, and I was re-educated again because it's been a while, that Alameda 2, the smaller of the two buildings, provide a total of 156 parking spaces. Of those, 10% are devoted to visitor parking, for a total of 16 visitor parking spaces, as approved by the special use permit for planned development on November 15th, 2017, and per approval of Resolution 2017-54. The parking breakdown includes the following spaces broken down. The one-bedroom units are assigned one parking space, and the 2 and 3 bedroom units are assigned 2 parking spaces. We understand that there is a $50 charge by Alameda for those for the second vehicle or the second parking space. That is their privilege. We cannot regulate that. Alameda 2, the larger of the buildings, of the two buildings to the west, provides a total of 385 parking spaces. Of those, 10% of the parking spaces are designated as visitor parking, for a total of 39 visitor parking spots. This building has a total of 216 units. So the parking assignments are structured the same as Alameda 2, the smaller of the building. So the one-bedroom building has assigned one parking space, and the 2 and 3 bedroom is assigned an additional space. We are informed that Alameda, the two buildings provides, Alameda 2 provides a fob for tenants who rent at the building, allowing them access into the parking lot. Guest parking is available, but unless the unit owners or the unit tenants come downstairs to greet their guests by providing them access into the building, they have to find parking elsewhere, because the tenant, there's security for the tenants. From what we are advised and what Mr. Pena inspected, there's a security barrier, if you would, that doesn't enable the visitors to come inside the building unless the tenants come downstairs, use their fob, and allow the visitors to access the building. So this we learned. I didn't know that this feature was available. The unit owners, this is also the fob is a building management issue. They have decided to issue these fobs to their tenants, and there are no regulations that preclude residents of either buildings from parking in the swale area for as long as they are not violating any parking or blocking of the driveways in the immediate vicinity of the buildings. And this is what our chief has gone out there, inspected, and advised. There's nothing you can do if someone is rightfully parked in the right-of-way area. You cannot preclude them from parking. And so violations are being dealt with. The police department is issuing citations to those individuals or those motor vehicle operators that are not abiding by parking regulations. We are actively patrolling the area, and I think you heard from Michael Smart that there's been a slight improvement or a little improvement, and but we are taking enforcement action as needed, and the estates companies has absolutely no problem with us enforcing our laws to make sure that people are rightfully parked there. They have no problem, they have no jurisdiction over that. The issue of the dog poop was brought up during this meeting, and the estates companies assure us that they have all tenants must register their dogs with the management office, where sampling is taken to identify that the dogs belong to the unit owners. So basically, anybody moving in, we are advised, must register their dog with the office. As a follow-up to that meeting where we told the states companies that dog poop was an issue because the tenants were throwing or allowing their dogs to go on their lawns or in the public right-of-way, and in some cases bagging up the poop and throwing them into neighbors' hedges, they offered to basically take that poop if they're brought to the building and have DNA sampled, and they can determine whether the poop belongs to one of the animals that the tenants own in the building. After 3 incidents of this situation occurring, after 3 incidents, tenants are given a 7-day notice where they are advised that they need to move out for violating their management rules. So we were assured that the DNA and the sampling of the poop and the instructions on how to take care of your dog, that the management had that under control, somewhat obviously not from what neighbors are saying, but they did advise us that they are told how to care for their pet without it becoming a nuisance. Neighbors, and addressing nuisances, the neighbors are encouraged to contact the West Miami Police Department, and I'm glad that the lady just reported that on Sunday they had to call the police department because children were playing in a roofed area where they could have gotten hurt. And obviously, the department is committed to monitoring the area because this affects the quality of life of the building and the surrounding area, because we want to think that there are some nice people living in the building as well, so, and that they as well would want to have quality of life. So food deliveries on private property, we determined that some of these food companies that deliver like Pizza Hut or El Rinconcito or other deliveries have issues finding the building. So the management company has already provided for signage in the rear of the building containing the address of the building. And that seemed to be, at that meeting, the situation where some of these food delivery companies wind up in your driveways or in the front of your house because they couldn't see where, they couldn't find the property. I'm advised that the property has building signage now identifying the property address. The blocked driveways is an issue that must be enforced by the West Miami Police Department. Again, our chief advises that vehicles that are improperly parked are being cited by the department. The smell of marijuana, and this is something if you want to bring the chief up, he can explain to you because he represents the law and he can tell you what can be done and what cannot be done with the smell of marijuana. So if you want to hear from him at this time, I think this is a matter for him to report on, and then I'll continue.
Chief?
Marijuana. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commission. Unfortunately, as you all know, recently, and against the accrediting bodies for the chiefs of police in Dade County, the Miami-Dade Chiefs of Police organization, we were not in agreement with the medicinal marijuana issues or any of that, but it has become legal. So we have our hands tied. People can smoke marijuana at their homes, and there is nothing we can do. Nothing that we can do. They can do it in their yard, they can do it on their property. They can't sell it, they can't traffic in it, but
They can consume it.
But they can consume it. So unfortunately, there's not our hands are tied. Our hands are totally tied with this situation. If they're in a public park, we will respond. If they're there and if we catch them doing it, it's still a misdemeanor. It can't be, well, he was smoking marijuana, but there's no marijuana around now. There's nothing I can do about that. Our hands are tied with the issue of the marijuana at this point. And
So unless they are...
And I'm not happy about it.
Right. So Chief, am I to understand, just so that everyone understands, there's nothing that the police department can do if somebody is smoking marijuana on their property because it is legal to do so?
It is legal, yes.
I hope you understand that. So,
I mean, we will respond if somebody calls. We will talk to them. We'll try to do whatever we can, but ultimately, because they're smoking a joint and, they don't have more than X amount of grams on them, there's nothing we can do.
and that's a state law?
That is state law, yes.
State law.
But Chief, that is just on the property.
Not only, yep, correct.
It's on the property.
Correct. And I will tell you something else. Here's the other issue that we have. Policemen can't tell the difference between hemp and cannabis. So my policemen have to be real careful because they could put this city in jeopardy of a lawsuit because of the questioning at some point. You detain somebody and you end up arresting him because you think it's cannabis, marijuana, and it turns out to be hemp. We just bought that lawsuit. So hemp is totally legal at all times and everywhere to smoke.
Right. Usually these buildings have their own regulations on smoking on the balconies, which are not obviously city laws. But that goes into enforcement by the buildings, which we'll get into after. Can we listen to the rest of the manager report? Because I know she has 2 more points.
Sure.
I have some
Well,
comments.
yeah, but I wanted the chief to opine on this part of the.
We
are going to
You said
finish.
about 17 times. I feel bad for him at this point. That
We
he
are going to
can't do
finish.
anything.
Thank you. I didn't want to
Thank
interrupt
you.
him while he was speaking, but
I felt
Chief, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I felt he's more of an authority to speak on this issue than I am.
I agree, Madam Manager. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you for coming
The
up. Chief.
estates company is also committed to having daily crews in the mornings devoted to cleaning up the public right-of-way areas immediately abutting their buildings to mitigate some of the littering and the nuisances that have been brought to the attention of this body. Security. Both Alameda 1 and 2 provide security for the buildings. The estates companies informed us that upon completion of the buildings, they also went out to try to be good neighbors and mitigated several claims from adjacent property owners with that they mitigated over $50,000 in some cases per property in mitigating some of the construction damages. Recommendations and actions by the city. Again, I started out by saying our right ends where private property rights begin. All I can tell you is we are committed to daily monitoring of the area. We pledge to continue to work with citizens on matters pertaining to the above and any other concern as they come up. The West Miami Police Department, along with code enforcement officers, remain vigilant of the area to ensure that quality of life is not affected by the increase in population citywide, meaning all the areas where we have had development over the last decade. We have an officer right now, and maybe we may need to have a second officer devoted to the buildings like we do on Ludlam, in Ludlam Plaza. And our goal here is to get the building administration to allow us to come in there, speak to residents, tell them what West Miami stands for, and why we want them to be good neighbors, because we want to invite them to be part of our quality of life. And so this is happening already on 67th Avenue and has had and is having some positive results. But short of us remaining vigilant, we cannot control how they arrange for parking or charge for parking spaces within their building. That is not up to the city to determine or decide. I have gone through the issues. I don't have an overnight solution. I thought of that. I want to bring something back that was discussed about signage. As you know, the city has no jurisdiction over the signs or our local roadways. Any of our plans to erect signs, do work in the streets, curbing, guttering, any type of these types of activities where the areas abut a public roadway must be approved by Miami-Dade County Public Works and Traffic Division. That is an interlocal agreement that most cities in Miami-Dade County give the jurisdiction to the county over roadway. We got to maintain it, but we have to abide by their standards. A matter of fact, Madam Mayor, we are now retrofitting our street calmers because Miami-Dade County put us on notice on January 12th that there were 5 or 6 locations where our traffic circles, one in front of Mr. Smart's and Mrs. Smart's home, had stop signs, and we have had to retrofit them to placing yield signs because Miami-Dade County advised us that the signage did not conform with a uniform traffic manual, and our city engineer is here, and if necessary, he could speak to the issue. So if it were up to us, we would put residential parking signs up there. I know, Mayor, we have spoken about it, Vice Mayor, all of the commissioners have spoken to me about it, but our hands are tied as to what we can do because of the Miami-Dade County regulations on signage. Anything that we erect or plan to erect to do to mitigate traffic concerns must be accompanied by a set of engineering plans submitted to the county for approval. And obviously that comes as an expense, which we can, put some money in the budget and ask our engineer to set up some calls with the county and see what we can do in terms of signage. Another thing we thought of, but I don't think it's the solution, that's why I'm not recommending it, is the installation of parking meters. If you put parking meters in that area and you designate parking spaces, those who use the space will have to pay for the space. And they're not going to like that. But the problem is if you put parking meters around the building in the area where parking is approved, then you're really throwing the problem further to the neighbors, and that's going to be unfair because the average person will look for a place where they can park without having to pay. So by trying to help them, we may wind up hurting them by installing parking meters, which would have been an option. So,
thank you. Is that
Madam Mayor, that concludes the report by my office, Mr. Pena, and Chief Avila. We I commit to you that for as long as we're here, I can tell you that we will continue every day monitoring. I myself travel through 9th Street every day on my way to and from work. And anytime I have to run an errand, I am traveling through the area. And I've seen an improvement. I agree with Mr. Smart. There has been a pattern towards improvement. We can't change the past, but we can be very vigilant of the situation and try to continue working with the management team of the building. When I met with the estates company on May 11th, they were the owners of the building. I don't know what has happened since. I have not been made aware. Whether there's been a sale, a transfer of property, I can't tell you because I don't know.
Thank you, Madam Manager.
Thank
A
you.
couple of notes I made, and I want to speak on them now, because it would be something that I would like you to do. No.
I'm sorry.
No. Could you get a copy? Mr. Smart had a question about our leash ordinance, and I know we have one.
We have one.
So
Yes, we do.
could you provide that?
Of
and
course.
I think we even have a flyer, because I know Commissioner Blanes a while back talked about a flyer, and we
Yes,
had one made
and-
up.
and
It's in
Miss-
our welcome package.
And Mr. Garcia
Could you
hands them out to
Well,
the people.
I'd like you to please provide that to the building and ask
Of
them to
course.
distribute it to all of their tenants,
Oh,
so that everyone gets a
course.
copy of that.
of course.
Please?
I mean, we could try, we can't make them
No, I
distribute
know, but
it.
can we ask?
But
If
we
we
can
give it to
ask-
them, can you please make copies
Absolutely.
and see
Absolutely.
that all your tenants get a copy of this? Because
Absolutely.
maybe they don't know, so now we know that they'll know.
Right.
On the mobile pet groomers, which I heard about from Mr. Smart this evening, can we also ask the building if they would please have their pet groomers be on their property? If they're going to be
We
grooming
can
pets?
ask.
Again, this is all ask. I know we can't mandate, but if we don't ask, you never know. So if we can ask them to have their, if a mobile unit is there to groom a pet from the building, if they could please be on their property
ma'am.
versus.
Yes, ma'am.
On the thing about the guest having to come down, I'm sorry, the tenant having to come down with their fob to open the security gate for the guest, I can see that's a problem. That's why nobody's using the guest parking, because I can't see a tenant coming down and opening the gate. So might we ask if they can set up some sort of communication between the tenant, they can call somebody in the building to go and open the gate for their guest? So we can try to make it easier for the guests to use the guest spots that are provided for them? Again, and these are all asks. Maybe the tenant can call, the security or somebody, hey, I have a guest down there, could you open the gate? Just an ask. And that's all I have.
Madam Mayor,
some of the
one
things
thing
looking-
I failed to include, and Chief Avila just brought it to my attention, is you asked every 6 months at a
Oh, I
recent
saw that.
commission
I
meeting.
saw that. It's back here. I don't know if you were going to report on it or if the chief was going to report on
I
that.
think the chief should be reporting
Yes,
on
I was
this,
going to
on the
ask him. Chief,
statistical. Mhm.
I see your email, your memo back here. Could you report on this, please?
Yes, Chief Carlos Avila. We went-
Carlos, could you speak up a little bit, because inside these boxes it's hard to.
Yeah, so we went and checked back 6 months as you requested, from November 1st to April 30th. The numbers for both buildings were remarkably good compared to Ludlam, the Ludlam area. And I just want to leave it at that. I'm not going to designate any numbers. For those 6 months, the total calls for service for the apartment buildings for both addresses, 6290 and 6320, were a total of 47
For 6 months?
for 6 months. That is an average of about 7 per month. And I will tell you that I ran the addresses on 9th Street, every single address on 9th Street between 63rd and 64th Avenue. And each one of those houses had a minimum of 1 call in those 6 months. So considering there's over 320 apartments in the both buildings, that's within the norm. It's about 7 calls a month.
Thank you,
So-
Chief.
Any other questions?
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
I have some comments on the manager's report.
Okay, go right ahead.
Or in general on this topic. About 5 points, I'll run through them pretty quickly. In regards to the parking, has the city inspected the operation? Has the city inspected the parking operation of the building?
Yes, they have been Juan has gone inside the building and has assured me that he did a physical count of both Alameda 1 and 2.
Okay, these fobs, what do they look like? Can someone from...
Juan, did you take a
And
look
anyone-
at the
I don't know,
fobs? I
anyone
was not
answer?
there.
It's a key fob?
Yeah.
The Uber deliveries, you said that they are putting the address on the back of the building. I think that sort of misses the point. The people know where they live, and the building is kind of hard to miss for a driver. The issue was that the tenants were calling the Ubers and the Uber Eats deliveries or any other platform to the house in the back because they had a rear exit, and it was easier for them to get to there as opposed to the side or the front of the building. That's something that is, again, not something the city can really regulate, what an individual does on their own Uber app, but I will be talking with Uber Public Affairs to see if they've had, I'm sure they've had an issue similar to this in the past, so I'll be talking with them next week and seeing if they can do anything from their side of the app to
And that
mitigate
would be who,
issue.
sir?
Uber Public Affairs. I'm going to reach out to Mr. Cuadroso, who runs the state of Florida Public Affairs for Uber, and hopefully puts me in touch with someone local down here. Madam Manager, could you request a generic lease and rules and regulations of the building?
Yes, I have already.
You have already?
I did at the May 11th meeting.
Could you get that to me?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Could you also, I know we've done this in the past, can you ask a survey from all the cities of how they have chosen to enforce their dog poop ordinances?
I will.
And also I just asked them to provide their ordinance as well. I know our ordinance is a little weak to begin with, but I know that residents have been told by our code enforcement that they can't really do much unless they're literally seeing them do it. So I want to see if other cities have stricter and more more enforceable ordinances. Mr. Chief, the building said they have security. I don't know if the security is day and night or during the day, or, I mean, up until when? 5 to 11. Have our NROs been involved, been in touch with them? Okay. So the final thing will administration say that they have, and I know we've answered this again, but I really want to emphasize on this, they have inspected the operation in terms of the visitor parking in that building?
I have been advised, I personally have not gone, but Mr. Pena has gone. I requested that he do a physical count of the actual parking spaces and the visitors' parking area in both buildings, and he did. Immediately upon my request, he went out there. He met with the building manager, who allowed him access into the parking garages.
And they were actually being used by visitors and not assigned to units?
No, they have
Mr.
10%.
Mr. Pena, could you come?
No, I don't care what they're saying. I'm saying,
Right.
are they, I don't care what they said in
Oh,
writing. I'm saying,
you
are
mean
they...
if they're marked for guest parking?
No, they're marked. Are they not assigned to units?
We have no way of knowing that,
Are
Vice
they
Mayor.
telling you they're not assigned to units? I mean, obviously you don't run the building, so obviously
They're not
you don't-
assigned, there were cars parked there, but there's nothing to say that the car is a visitor or...
Right, but
Or
they-
a tenant.
well, I guess what I'm saying is they expressed to you that they are not assigned to units, that they are visitors' parking spaces,
That's
right?
correct. If
We
the-
were
if a-
assured
if
on
a
May
u-
11th that 10%.
One at a time, Madam Angela, let's let Mr.
I'm sorry.
Penna, let's let Mr.
I
Penna finish. Go ahead,
apologize.
sir.
If a unit owner decides that they need another parking space, like it was expressed before, they could go to the building manager and ask for a parking space, and if they can, they will accommodate them at a $50 a month fee.
Of course. I was just asking if they had expressed to you, because I know you obviously can't tell whether, again, this building doesn't have 3-bedroom units, correct? Does this building have 3-bedroom units? It
I
does
am
have 3-bedroom
advised,
units?
yes. I am advised that yes. I have never entered the building, so I don't know.
Madam Manager, I'm sorry I interrupted you. You were talking. Go ahead.
No, no,
finish.
it's okay. I wanted to clarify for the record that during our meeting, the estates company advised us that 10% of the parking spaces in both Alameda 1 and 2 are devoted to visitor parking.
Thank you. Can you just get, I think I had only 2 requests for you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just the survey, which I know we've done in the
The
past.
general lease and the
yeah, you
surveys
need to
from
get that
other
to me,
municipalities.
but you already have it. Thank you.
I got it.
Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
sir.
Hey, Mr. Penna, I wanted to ask you, if you would, in discussing this with you after the last meeting, you and our engineer mentioned to me that we might be able to do some modifications to that 9th Street was smaller than the average roadway, and that we might be able to do some modifications to the driveways to make them more flared out, to allow for ease of backing up if there's a car on each side and a car in the back.
Correct.
Is that still a viable solution or possibility?
No, Mayor, what we stated is 9th Street is standard size like every local road that we have. But however, because of the building, tenants park on one side and you have property owners parking on the other side, you're just left with the center lane. Some of the driveways that are in these homes are old driveways from the 80s. And they weren't made to the standard they're done today with a 3-foot flare out.
That's what I meant. I didn't know what it was called.
Okay, so they're usually, say if they're 10 feet at the front, the older ones are 11 feet at the back. So you really only have like a 6-inch variation from the front to the back on most of those old driveways. We can go in there and replace them with the 6-foot, with the 3-foot on each side flare out at our cost.
Right. And I mean, I don't need it like right away, but could you find out how much that cost would be if we were to modify those driveways on 9th?
The ones that don't have it, sure.
The ones that don't have it?
Sure.
So some already have it?
Some are newer and they have the flare outs.
And, okay, so then, I mean, like, no rush, but I'd just like to know how much that would run for the city to make that modification. And we also talked about on 64th Avenue, you have, I know there's a name, where the parking spaces are kind of like indented into the swale on 64th Avenue. Instead of parking on a curb, it's kind of like a horseshoe, and the cars are parked in.
On 63rd Avenue.
I'm sorry, 63rd, I'm sorry, 63rd, yes.
Correct.
Would it be better or worse if we entertained doing that on 9th on the curbside of the building? Would that make this problem better or worse? Is that a viable solution?
It would make the road wider at some points where they're being choked right now.
And it would allow for the car to park more into the swale?
Into the swale.
And obviously that would be at our cost as well.
Correct.
Would you think that is, like I said, a viable solution? Would that help? Would that hurt more than it would help, or would it help more than it would hurt?
No, it would help more than it would hurt. Because
Okay.
now cars that are, homes that have driveways that are abutting that curbed area don't have a car parked right at them, right behind them. They'll be indented a good 6 or 7 feet further in.
Could you also get us a cost on what that would be if we provided that type of parking
Sure.
spot on the road? On 9th, again, from 63 to 64.
We would have to do both buildings to benefit
Yes, please, you're right. And on the flare-out, also
Both,
both buildings,
correct.
please. Thank you, sir.
Well, I just stay there one second. I don't really have a question, but if you're gonna do that, I know I had a discussion with one of the residents about that issue today. Their concern was that by doing the indented parking, it might reduce the number of parking spaces. So while solving one problem, creating another, could you include in that?
The loss.
Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. Penn.
I have a question, Madam Mayor.
Yes, Commissioner.
Maybe you, Mr. Penn. What's the issue with the commercial dog groomers? They're parking in front of residents' homes and doing the pets of residents that live in the building? Is that what the issue is?
That's what I heard, yes.
Okay. Aren't they regulated? I mean, they're conducting a business and they're getting paid.
That's correct.
So they have to be licensed.
That's correct.
Right? So I mean, can they just pull off on the side of the road and perform their service? Or do they have to be on that customer's property to conduct the business?
We use one at my house, and when he comes, he parks in my driveway. The building, I haven't seen the one that comes to the building. I don't know if they're using the cutout in the swales or if they're just parking behind the building on the right-of-way.
Well, we need to find out if there's a law that will pertain to that.
Correct.
I mean, they are conducting a business and they are getting paid.
Correct.
So, I don't know, there might be a technicality there where they need to park that commercial vehicle in a certain location, not just anywhere.
Correct.
So, if we can look into that?
Yes.
I've seen, Commissioner Blanes, if I may, other vans citywide parking in the swale area, in the public right-of-way, where they come and provide a service to residential property owners as well.
I
And
see
they're-
that too. My
Yeah.
question is that we need to find out if that is lawful.
Right.
You know, since they are licensed and, you know, they have to abide by certain, you know, regulations, maybe they do need to be, you know, parked in certain
On private property.
on private property to
Okay.
conduct that business.
Well, yeah, certainly. Maybe Mr. Villalobos can help us find if there's any lawful, any legal, any law on that.
Thank you, Commissioner. Elliot, I believe you wanted to say something after the manager's report. Was it on this?
If in fact the commission, including the evaluator, are through.
Once we're done, okay. Thank you, sir.
I did not want to interrupt.
Okay.
The continuity between the residents and the commission.
Understood.
I
Any other?
got
Go
something
ahead.
else.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Yeah, it was also mentioned that residents of the building that have pets, they have to register the pet, and somehow they have to provide fecal matter to the management.
The building is represented here. You may want to ask the building representative.
How do they obtain? Is it fecal matter or is it a?
Miss Bravo, if you could approach the podium. Name and address for the record, please, and thank you.
Hi, my name is Janet Bravo. I represent the estate companies. I live at 7295 South Waterway Drive in Miami. So for the pets, every pet needs to be registered with our office, and the way that we get their DNA is a swab inside their mouth. So we have a company that we partner with. It's called Poo Prints, and you
Miss
can
Bravo,
sorry,
direct
I
everything
feel like
to us.
I should
I
be
know.
facing them.
Elliot will tell you.
Okay.
Thank you, Miss Bravo.
Okay, so we partner with a company called Poo Prints, and they provide us with the kits in order for our pets to be tested for the DNA. So when a resident moves in and they have a pet, there is a pet interview, and that is conducted in our office. And basically, we meet the dog, and we see if it's an aggressive dog or if it meets our guidelines, because we do have breed restrictions within our community. They provide us with all of their paperwork, and at that time, we give the owner the swab. It's a cotton swab, very much like the COVID test that we have now. And they put it inside the dog's mouth, we put it in the container, and we mail it to the lab. The lab then records the DNA of this dog. And what we do is when we find poop in our community, our maintenance department picks it up, brings it to us, and then we put it in a container that we have and send it to the lab, and they can tell us which dog is the one that the poop belongs to. When that happens, we have a fine of $250 for the pet owner. If it continues to happen, as you mentioned, then we go after lease violations. So the first time we fine you, it's $250. We provide the policies again, we remind you. And what's happened in the past is that the dog owners, it's because someone else is walking the dog and they were not aware that we had the policy. But the reason why we do the pet DNA is really not to catch people, but it's a prevention. If you know that I have your dog's DNA, you're not gonna let them go in the building because I can catch you. And I promise you, maintenance is very happy to bring me that poop because they only have to pick it up once. And so we can then find the resident. But if they continue, then there are lease violations, and they're provided then with a 7-day notice to cure, which basically says you're in violation of your lease. And if you continue to do this, your lease will be terminated. And so we have proceeded. And I do have to say that we're very strict. It is 300 units, almost 600 residents if you count 2 people per unit. We're very strict with our policies and procedures, and I think that the police department, I was very happy to hear that we have, that the calls are not excessive, because I was very worried that we were a nuisance, and we certainly don't want to do that. So we're very strict with our policies, and I do have to say that we have evicted from our community. I'm not going to sit here and say nothing happens, because that's not real. We have people that come from all over, and people that don't understand, or they're not used to following rules, which can happen. So when you live in a building, we have a lot of rules, and we're going to provide the copies so that you can see. In fact, my boss says, I'll never live in one of your buildings because I can never do anything. And that's true. You have to follow the guidelines, but there are people that will break it. And so this is why we have a police, and this is why we have management. When they do break it, we do follow the 7-day notice to cure, and then we terminate the lease. And we have done it in this building for several people. Noise complaints, parties, any nuisance, and we have. I can tell you we've probably terminated about 5 leases so far of people that have continued to break the policies and are not paying attention to us. So if we catch you, we will follow up. It is in our best interest. Most of my staff lives on site, and so it is their place. It is where they call home. And so we're very interested to work with the community. We always have. And so I'm here to say, we will respond. Anything we can do, we will. And any policy that we can add that we don't have, we will. And we'll be happy to work and do whatever it is that we need to do. Absolutely.
Do you allow more than 1 pet per unit?
2 pets.
Why do you do that?
What do you mean?
It should only be 1. It's in a huge apartment building.
So
Can you imagine if 600 people have 2 pets? That's 1,200 pets. I think maybe you should consider just 1. A cat or dog. I mean, if you have a home, a single family residence, okay, then you can have 2 pets. But an apartment, a building with 600 units, and you are allowing 2 pets, you usually charge, right?
We do.
Yeah, exactly. So you know
and
what?
And they pay pet rent.
So you know what? The residents here, are suffering at your profit, and their loss. So maybe you should consider 1 pet. Okay. The other thing is, do you have a quiet time, like at 11 o'clock? That's it. No noise.
Absolutely. So there is a noise clause within our leases, and basically the
What
noise
time
clause.
does that start?
It doesn't even have a time. It's at any time. If you are bothering another resident with noise, you are in violation of your lease. And so we don't have quiet hours. We have to provide quiet and peaceful enjoyment of their home to every single resident in our community. So if I get a call at any time that there is noise, that is a lease violation, and we will follow with a lease violation to that resident anytime. It does not have to be at night. It doesn't have to be at any other time. So it's open. It is in the clause, and you will see it once you get a copy of the lease.
When you say that the resident can call, you're also including them or just residents from the building?
So I can only control what my residents do. So if my residents...
Oh, no, I'm talking about the residents adjacent to your building.
So I
If
would
they
guess... I'm sorry.
Can they call you and tell you, hey, such and such at apartment such and such on the second floor or fourth floor, they're having a blowout?
They're welcome to.
Can you give them your phone
They're
number so
welcome
they
to
can
call
you?
the office during office hours. You can call the office during office hours. So basically, the residents outside in the neighboring homes would have to, look at the local police to enforce that. It would be like if you were, in your home, you would call the police. So if it's after hours, they can call the police to enforce that if we're not there or if our security guard is there. And they can let us know which apartment, and we can enforce that lease the next day. During office hours, we'll be glad to assist.
Okay, so they all the residents from the building do have the right to call and complain, and you will take that complaint at hand and then apply it as a lease violation. What about the other residents? What about the neighboring residents at the single-family residences?
They can call our office, the
Because
same
you
as
said-
our residents would report it. They can call our office during office hours
Okay,
and report
so they
it.
don't, I mean, you say they have to call the police.
After
But
hours. If
after
we're not
hours.
there, then the police can remedy the situation immediately. If we're there during office hours, we can take care of it.
So if a resident from a single-family residence that lives, adjacent to your building, if they can identify, the person making a noise and a nuisance, then you will go after the lease, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, all right. Well,
Yes.
Thank you,
You all heard
Commissioner. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, actually, the phone number is actually listed right on the signage for the building, but we can provide it, and I can even provide you the email address directly to the property where you can send an email as well with the information. We would actually prefer it for it to be in writing so that we have documentation for our records.
Did you
But
sell the
that's it.
building? Is the building sold?
No, the building is not sold. The estate company is still the owner of this building.
Thank you, Ms.
So
Brown.
can you please relate to Mr. Castro to please consider only allowing one pet
Okay.
versus two pets?
Sure.
I mean, I know that it's more income for you guys, but
It's not about income. We find that nowadays people
Well,
find pets for people is just an extension of their family.
Well,
And so it becomes another, like a child
you're in
to them.
you're in an apartment
Yeah.
building with 600 units. An apartment building, you're two
So
pets.
I have to
What
say
if they're-
that they're not
what
all
about
have.
the 300-pound dogs? You have two 300-pound dogs. Then you allow that?
So I have to tell you that I would say, and I can confirm this later, but 90% of the units that have pets only have one pet. It's very rare for them to actually bring two.
Thank you, Ms. Thank you, Ms. Bravo.
I just heard a lady complaining about having a resident with two dogs running around.
It could happen.
Thank you,
It could
Commissioner.
happen.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Ms. Bravo. If you'd like to, at this time, if you want to give the residents the number to the office and the email, now would be a good time, and they could jot it down.
Okay.
Please, and thank you for offering that.
Sure.
Can I ask you two very brief questions before you, very yes, like sir, or yes or no?
Did you want to say that? You want to say it out loud, or you want to give it to them?
I apologize. I have to look for the information.
Oh, okay.
I have
Okay.
more than one, so I will look for the information, and
If
then
you
I
want,
will
you can just
provide
write
it.
it down and then just hand it to them. There you go.
Okay,
Madam Mayor,
fantastic.
Madam Mayor, before she goes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes, there was a resident that was complaining about a man exposing himself. Do they supervise that too?
Sure. I mean, it's hard to tell if someone is naked in their balcony. I would consider that a violation. If someone is in their underwear, it could be a bathing suit. I mean, I'm just not sure where we would be able to draw the line and say what you can and cannot wear on your balcony.
It's understandable. Thank you. Chief, did you want to say something? Okay. Ms. Bravo,
Wait,
thank you.
I have one more suggestion. somebody was complaining about residents from one building going across the street to the other building to use the pool, and they were shirtless. You know, maybe you can instill a policy where it says, hey, you want to go use the pool, you got to wear your shirt. You got to wear sandals, you got to wear your shirt and your, swimming trunks.
Absolutely. We can put a policy that whenever you're indoors, you have to be wearing a shirt, because they do have to go through our lobby in order to get to the pool area. So yes, that's reasonable.
Done from the get-go.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Ms. Bravo.
I have a very quick question for Ms. Bravo. Thank you for being here. Number one, do you know off the top of your head, you might not, how many fines have been given out for the dog poop violations?
I can find it. We have several buildings, but again, it's mostly a prevention, and
have there been fines given out?
I cannot give you that information.
That's fine. And then the second one, something that I was asking earlier, but I have someone in the flesh here, so I'll ask you. The visitor parking spaces, are they assigned to units or are they visitor parking spaces?
They're just visitor parking spaces.
They're not assigned
to be
to
used. Not assigned, no.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Bravo.
Sure.
Chief?
Again, I just want to clarify. Miami-Dade County ordinance, noise ordinance, 11 p.m. to 7 in the morning. So when the neighbors call at 4 o'clock in the afternoon because there's noise coming from a balcony, it's perfectly legal.
Thank you, Chief.
From a law standpoint.
Thank you, Chief. Ladies and gentlemen, if you don't mind, I've already heard from all of you. Okay, if they're brief, go right ahead. Absolutely.
Teresa Fuentes Smart, 901 Southwest 63rd Avenue. Just have some comments to what the manager said about if there's no way for them, no matter how many visitor parking spaces they have, if there's no way for them to get inside, they're not going to use them. So forget if they're assigned or not. If I cannot get in, I'm not going to use it. So it's kind of like a mute issue, right? It just looks good on paper. They need to be able to get in. If you have a special taxing district with a guardhouse, you go through the guardhouse and they'll let you in through. Right? If I can't get in, I'm not going to park. So they can have 10% or they can have 100%. It's irrelevant. So that's my first comment. They need to be able to get in and park. You go to the Port of Miami, there's a designated visitor parking area. And you go straight there. So there's no blockage. You go straight and there's a visitor parking area, right? So that's the first thing. The poop, are we now as residents going to go and drop poop to Ms. Bravo here in her office? And she mentioned that they do patrolling in their community. Their community is their building. She said about the building in the hallway, okay? They're not going to do that in their building. They're going to do it in your neighbor's yard. They're going to do it, around it. Are they going to patrol at least, a 2-block radius? They're not going to do that, right? Are we going to be picking up poop and throwing it in their office? Are they going to have a drop box for poop? Drop your poop here, and we're going to do a DNA in the poop. Are we going to do that? So the quiet time, they do have a quiet time. As far as if you're infringing on a neighbor's, you're now violating my, where does your privilege end and mine is being violated? So we got to be very careful. Said, 11 to 7. No, if you're infringing on your neighbor, you're not being a good neighbor, regardless of the time, regardless of what the law says. Okay? So,
Elliot.
Okay, so,
Elliot.
Conducting business on the road, I've seen 2 different vehicles, Tito's Grooming, and I didn't capture the other one. And they did have a license to operate business because it has CC number, license registration.
Right.
If a resident of the city of West Miami cannot have their vehicle or an RV, whatever, parked inside their, invisible to the road, or they're a mechanic and they cannot have their truck there, why are we going to allow pet grooming in the street, right? So those are just some of the things that I just kind of noted here. The budget for signage, then that means that there's a possibility, if we're going to look at budget for signage, I think it's cheaper the signage than go and start digging up road, digging up driveways, right? So it's a matter of getting a budget, other cities have it. They have time frames so you can park, no overnight parking. So that's it. I don't want it to elongate it, but it's kind of tough to say one pet, because you can have a parrot and you can have a cat and a dog. It's kind of tough to say it, but you do have a weight restriction. I know that Maida has seen huge dogs, right? Are they coming from the building? More than likely, because she hasn't seen them before. So there should be a weight. I have a little dog, and if I have her outside for too long, I bring her in because I find her annoying if she's barking too much. I tell her, shut up, come inside, right? So there's a matter of being considerate to your neighbor, right? So that's just it, consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Smart. Yes, if it's brief. This one brief, please. Gracias.
Sí, Iris López, y yo quería preguntar,
Iris Lopez, and I wanted to ask.
lo de la marihuana que es aceptado, ¿es dentro de la casa o en la acera pueden usar marihuana también y en la calle?
Okay, I wanted clarification on the issue of the marijuana. Is it legal for a person to smoke it inside their house versus the outside of their house? I would like to receive clarification on that.
I will have the chief come up.
Porque tenemos niños.
Because we do have children.
Okay. Chief, please, and thank you.
Yes, you can thank the Florida legislature for that. Actually, no, it was a referendum.
It was.
It was a referendum that was won by 80%, so the citizens of Dade County or the state of Florida have said that smoking marijuana is legal. There's nothing we can do about it. And yes, the smoking, you can smoke in your yard, you can smoke on your property, the only thing you can't do is smoke while you're driving. And then we have to prove that it's marijuana, because if it's hemp, they can do it all day long.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, this was a public comments section of the agenda. Are there any, yes, Elliot, are there any comments from the table? I hear none. Elliot, thank you for your patience. Get to the podium first. Name and address for the
Elliot
record.
Asbell, Sunnyside Motel and Trailer Park, 15345 Southwest 77th Court, Palmetto Bay, Florida, 33157. Now, I believe, with all due respect, that
Elliot, lower your mask so we can hear you clearly, sir.
Sure.
Thank you.
I believe, with all due respect, that I needed to wait, A, for continuity in terms of dialogue, and B, certainly that the residents, not corporate residents need your priority attention as opposed to corporate residents. That's my judgment. In any event, looking at the agenda, I noticed that budget meetings are going to be set tonight. I'm waiting for that because I go on vacation when my wife tells me. So I really want to know about those debts because I'm very concerned about the upcoming budget and want to listen and speak about it. In the meantime, I know you're going to have the auditor's report. The gentleman is here.
He's next, sir. He will be next.
Okay, and I don't want to take up his time. I'm just happy to hear that last time around, an issue that was always being raised, enough reserves as one of our weaknesses, was getting better. Generally, I hope that the report. I know that from the sanitation department alone and what's happening in pricing, that this budget is going to be really difficult, and there are going to be issues, and you're going to have to establish priorities. I have mentioned to the present mayor and the manager, city manager, I think maybe half a dozen times over the years, one of the things that really bothers me is I don't see or hear a lot of contribution on the part of the various businesses in the business corridor to the city of West Miami. I'm not saying there are none. I'm saying minimally, the bank, whatever. I know that the well management of this city is what affords me the opportunity to have a sustained profit over 50 years now. That's because this place is desirable. To give you an answer, we talk about trailers. There are trailers in my Sunnyside trailer park that are being, one was just sold last week, that are being sold because a person is transferred. You know what the selling price was with no argument? $50,000. Because that's how much this city is popular due to your management and taking care of lifestyle situations and whatever. And that's why I make a sustainable profit. I have mentioned, and I'm getting to the point, and once again, I have brought it up before, but now I'm bringing it up directly. In the upcoming budget, I would like this commission, and I hope there are those in administration or commissioners that recommend it themselves. For years, I have felt that the commercial businesses do not do what I believe they should do in terms of contribution because they're profitable based on what you do. I have asked if it has been possible, and this you're going to blink at because it's contrary to my interest, but in the interest of the city of West Miami, as far as I say. It's not the first time, but I am bringing up, especially now, looking at the new expenses of sanitation, et cetera, as well as others. Establishing a two-tier water sewer system. And what I mean by that, keep your residents where they are, no increase, but give a higher price, not the same price, to businesses. The ones that will cost the most are myself, apartment houses, next in line maybe restaurants, jewelries or other shops or whatnot. Very little consumption of water. But this is a way, in my mind, that my business and other businesses should contribute to the budget viability and income of the city to release strain in other areas that are going to appear. It is my recommendation. I hope it's taken seriously. I endorse it 1,000%, although it's going to cost me. Thank you.
Thank you, Elliot. Okay, so to close out the public comments portion of the meeting, you've heard from management, you've heard from us. I believe the manager's message, you've even heard from a representative of the estate company, which I had no idea was going to be here, but thank you. We are committed to continuing to work on this until we come to hopefully an amicable solution. We can't make everybody happy all the time. I learned that 12 years ago when I sat up here. It's impossible to make everybody happy all the time, but I want to get to as close to that as possible. Listening to you, trying to alleviate your concerns, trying to provide a solution that works for you and works for us, that we can actually attain. I know our hands are tied in some parts, which I heard tonight, but we, this commission, we hear you. We are going to continue working with staff, with the administration, to be sure that we continue to address your concerns. You can come back and talk to us as many times as you want. My number's on the website, my email, our door at City Hall is always open. This doesn't have to be the end of our conversations with you all, okay? Know that we will continue to work with you and hopefully be able to solve most of your concerns amicably. I thank you all for being here. Don't make it your last time here. I love when people come. So please continue to come and tell us anything you need to tell us, anything we need to hear. You're more than welcome. Mr. Smart, thank you for I know you were the driving force behind this, for bringing the residents to us. So thank you for that. I appreciate your advocacy on the part of the residents, and I hope that we have properly committed ourselves to a common goal. Thank you all for coming. You're welcome to stay. The auditor is going to present numbers to us. You're more than welcome to stay. Thank you all again for being here. Ms. Bravo, thank you again.
Thank you very much. We're working hard on this. Let's see what solution we can get for everybody.
And Madam Clerk, I want to take Jerry next. He's been sitting here. Jerry, I'm thank you for your patience.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, if you could just continue your conversation outside so we can continue with the meeting. Ms. Bravo, if you could take outside so we can continue. Pass along here. Thank you again, everyone. Good night. Thank you. Good night.
Jerry's like it's about time.
Jerry, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you for your patience.
It's okay.
And Jason, too.
We have Jason, I never even saw. Oh my God, Jason, I didn't even see you. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm here.
Okay.
Still here.
You're back from your honeymoon. You got time, right? You can be patient with us. You can stay. Okay. Thank you, Jason. I'm sorry. I did not even notice you sitting there. Thank you. Jerry, go right ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Good
Madam
evening.
Clerk, I'm sorry. You want to let her read it into the record?
This is item 11C, presentation of financial statements for fiscal year ended 9/30/2020 by city's independent auditors, GMRT. By Jerry Donatis.
Yep. So, as you said, my name is Jerry Donatis, GMRT CPA, 2600 Douglas Road, Coral Gables, Florida. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Commissioners, and administration. I was the manager this year once again for the city's audit. The fiscal year ended September 30th, 2020. And Carlos Trueba, the engagement partner, he's currently on a business trip, so he couldn't attend, but he sends his regards. So I'll just get right into it and just provide a brief overview of the audit and some of the discussion topics that we're required to go over with you. And to start things off, the audit opinion was an unmodified opinion, so it was a clean opinion. There were no new accounting policies that were adopted during the year, and no accounting policies, the application of existing policies didn't change. In regards to the audit and our testing and our analysis and our procedures, we did not encounter any difficulties with management, and we did not have any disagreements with management. And the finance director, the staff, they provided everything we requested, answered all our questions and inquiries in a timely manner. And there were a few audit adjustments, auditing entries related to depreciation and some reclassifications, but it wasn't nothing significant from the trial balance that we received. There were no findings for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2020, and there were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies noted. Also, there were no prior year findings to address in the current year's report. The first page of the executive summary that you received has a 4-year comparison of certain balances, such as cash, accounts payable, unassigned fund balance for the governmental funds and the enterprise funds as a whole. And the unassigned fund balance, which that's the fund balance that's not restricted or committed in any way, that has been that has been increasing the last couple of years. And in 2020, it increased approximately $350,000, which is a good thing. And the balance as of September 30th, 2020, for the unassigned fund balance is about $1.3 million. I usually mention that ideally the city would want it to be approximately 3 months' worth of expenditures. And so that would put it up at about 1.5 million, maybe a little higher. So it's at 1.3 now, so it has been increasing over the years, on the right track. Now, with that being said, every year the general fund does subsidize the deficits that are occurring in the enterprise funds, so that's still something to be aware of and to be on the lookout for. But considering, the COVID pandemic last year, there were some revenues that decreased, but some costs also decreased. So it wasn't a bad year in terms of taking everything into consideration that happened. In the enterprise funds, as I alluded to, there were no major changes year over year. But, however, the operating losses that have accumulated has left some unrestricted deficits in a couple of the enterprise funds. So this needs to be addressed just to avoid having the general fund having to cover those costs year over year. A couple other points to mention, following up on the enterprise funds, the sewer fund, the stormwater fund, and the sanitation fund were the funds that had an unrestricted deficit at the end of the year. Now, these funds should, sustain themselves. So, again, general fund has been subsidizing it, and even with that, was able to increase its fund balance, the general fund, this year. So that's good, but there's going to come a point in time where this general fund is not going to be able to cover it. And over the last 4 years, the general fund has also transferred about $150,000 to $225,000 to the community center fund to cover the cost of the services being provided. So the grants that the community center fund receives are just, they're not sufficient enough to cover the entire cost of the services being provided. And as always, one of the top priorities of the city should be to try and generate more revenues wherever possible. I mean, if there's certain ways you can do that. You can generate a new revenue source altogether, and you can increase rates or fees. You can try and procure grants and contributions from outside sources. So there's a couple different ways to go about it. There wasn't a single audit this year, which is related to compliance with grants, because the total federal or state expenditures were less than $750,000. So there was no single audit, but we look at the grants and we found no issues with the grants. But yeah, again, I mean, considering the year, the city, once again, the management of the city did a great job in maintaining the budget and operating with the budget. And the challenges are just the solutions to eliminate the deficits in the enterprise funds, funding the improvements for the sewer systems as you've been working on, and then finding ways to generate higher revenues. But that's pretty much a quick summary of everything. There's some detailed financial statements in the packet. If you have a chance to look at that and you have any specific questions, you guys can always reach out and let us know as well.
Thank you, Jerry. On the enterprise funds, these deficits, what are your thoughts on that? Like, how soon should we look at correcting these deficits, and your recommendations on how to correct these deficits are?
I mean, the sooner the better. And it's it's been happening every year where the expenses in the funds are just, the operating expenses are just.
Is it getting worse? You say it's been happening every year. Is it getting progressively worse?
It's gotten worse with the funds that had the issues with the sewer system, things like that. In the other ones, it's been consistent.
I see deficits in sewer system, stormwater, and sanitation.
Correct. I mean, ideally, the sooner the better that you can look into something to try and alleviate those funds. Basically, like I mentioned, is the the fees and the revenues that those funds generate should be covering the operating expenses. Like I said, they're supposed to sustain themselves, so.
And they're not.
And they're not, right.
Which one do you view as more problematic?
Well, the sewer fund is obviously the biggest, has the largest deficit because of the issues with the aging sewer system, but you know.
I'm sorry, let me stop you there. The sewer or the water or the potable water?
Well, the water fund is in a separate.
Right. But you said that the sewer is aging.
Right. The water and sewer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because the sewer is only how many years old? 20 years old, if that.
A little bit more than that.
Well, I wouldn't. Well, it can't be 30 because when we converted the
About
sewer
26 years old.
entirely, the whole.
More or less 26 years.
Right. That's not a. Is that an aging system?
At 30 years, you're looking at an aging system because of the utilization of the system.
Right, but it's not currently an aging system that should be giving us problems, right? Well, I guess the question is, and
Well,
this is not the question. This
yes,
is not
you
for-
have
Right,
operational.
if we can, let's stick to Jerry's portion of it.
Yeah, well,
So-
I think it's related because
Yep.
he was asking what the problem was. Is there something currently wrong with our sewer system that is causing us to have greater deficits?
You have your pumps breaking down,
It's the pumps.
and those are very expensive ticket items, and obviously your revenue is, we haven't increased rates in at least 15 years, water and sewer rates, correct, Luli?
It's been
At
a long
least in
time.
15 years. So we've talked about some possible remedies on how to shift some of those costs in line with what Mr. Asbel has been talking about this evening. And we spoke about it with the auditor as well. And in our meeting with the mayor, we also spoke about shifting some of those costs over to the commercial area.
Which is exactly what
And
Maria
Mr.
spoke of, yes.
Asbel, again, reported on that. So
Yes.
when you have increased costs and you don't have additional revenues, that's what happens.
Right.
And the depreciation costs
Yes.
don't help.
Yeah. The depreciation cost, that's tied into the capital assets, so that's more of a paper expense.
Nonetheless,
Yeah.
that creates
Nonetheless,
a
yeah.
negative number,
Right.
correct?
Correct.
And on the sanitation as well, where you have a
Yes,
a
sanitation
huge
as well.
deficit there.
Right.
Increased garbage fees.
Okay. Elliot, thank you, sir. Jerry, thank you. Anything else that you have?
No, that's about it.
I have one more
That's
question
about
for
it,
you if you're done.
Go right ahead, Vice Mayor.
It says here that, in the comments and suggestions that if permit revenues decrease as expected, why, just curious, what's the reasoning for why they're expected to revenues are expected to decrease?
Well, in the last couple of years, not even this year, but because this year was already lower, just depending on the amount of developmental projects that are going on and things like that, the building permit revenues, fluctuate greatly. So as there's less development or less permitting going on, the revenues in the building fund will go down, and then the costs, to operate the building department are going to stay the same or increase. So right now it's fine. It has a $220,000 fund balance, but year over year, if the permitting revenues are decreasing, then that balance will
Right,
decrease.
it's just a projection on what you
It's
what you
just
think.
right.
Got it, thank you.
There's no issue. There's no immediate issue with that or anything. It's just a comment for.
Thank you, Jerry.
You're welcome.
Madam Manager, any questions for Jerry?
Jerry, how much is you mentioned the general fund unrestricted fund balance is $1.3 million?
1.3 million, correct.
And that's after we forgave some of the debt from the utility?
Right.
That the utilities owe?
Yes.
The general fund?
Yes, because if that forgiveness wasn't there, it would be significantly higher, yeah.
Significantly higher?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, sir.
And Jerry, on the community center, that's not a deficit. You said
No.
that is a fund transfer.
It's a fund
where
transfer that's
we have to transfer
budgeted.
from the general fund to cover the community center.
Correct, correct.
We transfer $225,000 to the community center, and it's been escalating every year.
Right, yeah.
To subsidize the income from the grant from the state.
Correct, correct.
Thank you, thank you. Jerry, thank you,
No,
excellent
you're welcome.
report. It's always good
Okay.
to see you, and again, I thank you for your
Thank you.
patience. I'm so sorry that
No, don't worry.
it took so long.
No, don't worry. Don't
Okay,
worry.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks a
Madam
lot.
Mayor, on our end, I want to publicly thank Mercedes Leon for a job again.
I did see her earlier.
She's here.
Oh, there you are.
Very well
You were behind
done.
Ellie. I didn't see you. Thank you. Yes.
Mercedes is still with us. We managed to keep her. So she's not going anywhere. And so I think that our report is as clean as it is, in great part.
Yeah.
The auditing team and Mercedes's handle of the city affairs.
As always, this
Financial
team
affairs.
with the auditors and finance and your office, Madam Manager.
Thank you.
Phenomenal job, and that's why we've built our reserves up to 1.3 mil, and we're almost to where we need to be.
Yes.
Almost.
And it's been a slow road, it's been a long road, but we're getting here, and it is due to the great work that you all provide. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Madam Clerk, I want to take freebie next. Wherever he's at on here,
Yes,
he's
Madam
next.
Mayor, it's item 10B, discussion in reference to recommendation of expansion of route with the use of surtax funds and expansion of freebie service by the Office of the City Manager and the Public Works Director.
Welcome, Jason.
Good evening, everybody. Let me get a little bit closer for you guys.
Yes, please.
Good evening, Madam Manager, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, Madam Manager, and staff. How's everybody tonight?
Name and address for the record.
Jason Spiegel, 1086 Northeast 91st Street, Miami, Florida, 33138. Tonight, we're talking about something very positive, and that's an expansion of the route of Freebie. And as well with the expansion of the route of Freebie, I'm also recommending switching the vehicle out from the low-speed vehicle that we're currently operating today to a Tesla vehicle at no additional charge. So essentially, this would help us get people to where they need to go much faster, since we'd be going further distances. That's kind of what we've been discussing with the manager and Mr. Juan. And tonight was just kind of to understand what your thoughts and feedback were on being able to do that. In terms of ridership, ridership has definitely picked up over the last few months. I mean, this month will probably be the highest ridership we've had since we started the program.
Excellent.
And we only see that going up from here. But,
Excellent.
you know, with the route and the new vehicle, it's definitely going to help with that as well.
I rode it the other day. Phenomenal. I mean, every time I ride, it's fantastic. Tell me where we're expanding to, if you would,
So
from our current.
that map was actually provided by Mr. Juan in the beginning.
Kind of small. I can't really read it here. Where are we expanding to here, sir? I can't tell on this map. Where are we going? From where we are now to where are we going?
The request back then was to be able to go to other places near us, such as the Winn-Dixie on Bird and 6th, 7th Avenue. The areas here off of 57th and Coral Way, which we don't go out that far because it's not in our jurisdiction. And to be able to go to the Air Park Plaza Shopping Center, which is on 57th and 7th.
Madam Mayor, if
But
I may,
was
I'd
that
like
for the
to-
Publix? We have a Publix now. Would
Correct.
that be the main reason for that? Because that's kind of far just for Publix when we have one here.
Well, there's other stores there that people visit from this area
Okay.
and that would like to go there. And,
Oh, that's
and
that's
that
right.
also,
Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Publix. I'm thinking
and
of
that also
the-
creates an interchange point where the city of Miami could pick them up and take them somewhere else.
Okay, okay.
Madam Mayor, if I
Yes.
may, as you know, the Board of County Commissioners recently approved the expansion of the free transportation paid by the surtax dollars to allow future connection to the SMART plan.
Right.
And they will be building hubs. The Blue Lagoon area is going to be a critical point for the SMART plan where people can take off from using Freebie in this case, and they can hop on to the train.
Okay.
That's going to provide them the commuting to the downtown area or other areas wherever those needs are needed. And so the actual design behind the expansion of the road is so that this can commingle itself at some point with the smart plan.
That makes sense.
And
And in addition to the extended area, I was hoping to entertain soon extended hours and days.
Yeah.
At some point, Madam Manager.
Yes.
Let's look at how soon we can do that.
We
in
wanted
addition
to
the
first get
extended
your
area.
blessing on this.
Oh, no,
because
yes,
we
I just
do
want to
have
keep that
submit.
in your
If
thought.
it's approved by the commission, we do
Okay.
have to submit our plan to the county, to the CITT office for their approval,
The
and
expansion
then
of
we
the
could
route, the
talk.
expansion of the route portion
The
is what we have to.
expand- yes.
I see,
Mhm.
okay.
We have to take it a step at a time and then talk about expansion of service
Perfect,
itself.
I understand.
I also do want to add, if there's any other locations now and in the future that any residents come to you guys and say, hey, we want to add, with this new Tesla vehicle, easily to be added, and really can do that overnight, so.
I have to say, I've had more questions about hours and days versus expanded area, but I understand the process we have to take, so, yes. Thank you, Jason. Anything else you want to,
How does the new vehicle look like?
right here?
It's the Tesla Model X, so it's the one where the doors go up, kind of like wings. It's right there.
In your package?
Yes, you have a,
So again, fully electric, has much bigger battery life, air conditioning, which is great with summer coming up. Same amount of seats, so you don't lose any seating, but it's an all-around much better vehicle to go further distances with.
Now, Jason, I know we have the vehicle that's on the road, and then we have the vehicle that is back in the bay for handicapped. What happens here? Do we retain the vehicle we have now for handicap, or does we switch to a Tesla also for the extra vehicle that we have?
So we're going to keep the one that is here because Tesla does not make a wheelchair accessible vehicle
Have we
yet.
had to use that one at all? Do you know?
We have not yet.
Okay.
It has not been used yet,
Okay,
but
that's
it is
fine.
there if it's
Perfect.
needed.
Perfect. So that stays.
That stays.
That stays as our extra vehicle if needed.
Correct.
Okay, excellent.
Quick question for you, Jason. I know we haven't taken advantage of it yet, but the current vehicle has the wrapping that creates that 50-50 split with the paid advertising. Is that something that's going to be available with the Tesla vehicle as well?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then the proposed route expansion, it's not mainly due to the smart plan, right?
it's connectivity and smart plan.
Right, but the smart plan isn't coming. That portion of the smart plan isn't coming into effect for many years.
Right. Right
So,
now,
I mean-
it's public transportation connectivity with Miami-Dade County bus routes.
Alrighty. All right. Thank you.
Jason, I can see this cool-looking car probably getting more sponsors.
Absolutely.
And-
I mean, and the good news is, I don't know if we broke the news yet, but we have our first sponsor coming up over the next few weeks, which will, I think, net you guys about $4,500
Fantastic.
over the next 6
I
weeks.
knew
which
you
is great.
guys were out there looking for our sponsors, and continue that. Continue
oh,
looking for our
definitely.
sponsors, and the more sponsors you can get for us, the better. And like I said, this cool-looking car, I'm sure a lot of businesses are going to want to promote themselves on this. And remember, I want to maintain our seal somewhere on that car.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now you have a new medical office that's coming in. They'll
You
be a great
see?
sponsor there.
You see, there you go. Now you'll have someone else to pick up that phone and call. Jason, as far as our customer satisfaction, how are those results coming into you? Everyone's happy?
You know, like I mentioned to you guys before, I mean, I think the satisfaction here in West Miami is higher than we have anywhere else. I
Good.
mean, we're maintaining that 5.0 rating across the board for the last, 6-7 months. I haven't checked this month, but previous to this month, we haven't had a rating under 5 stars. So
Excellent.
that means that people are
Suggestion.
happy.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. I just thought about something. Because is there any way, I think it's the Beehive, where you put your pictures?
Mm-hmm.
The Beehive, it's called the Beehive, right? And I noticed when you go on there, it's all of freebie. Is there any way to put that for just each different municipality? Because I know, like, when we post pictures,
Yeah.
I would like our residents to see their neighbors and their friends on there versus someone from Coral Gables or Doral.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's a possible enhancement you can make to the app. Like
It's,
have your Beehive portion
Yeah, be geofenced.
be
Yeah,
based, exactly.
Yeah,
See,
I mean, it's definitely something that can happen. I mean, I'll definitely talk to the team and see how easy or hard that can be.
Because that way you'll see your neighbors, oh, wow, look, my neighbor wrote it, you know, so.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No,
And
it's a
everyone can
great
promote,
idea.
they can promote it, you know, put your picture on the Beehive and, you know, you'll see mine and that kind of word of mouth
No, it's a great suggestion.
promotion. Good,
Great suggestion.
excellent, thank you.
Last question for you, Jason. I'll leave you alone. I know you guys are very data driven. Are you guys collecting any data, or is there any way you collect data on where people from West Miami want to go that they cannot go right now, or is that something that you can't collect?
We don't have that capability. It's, you know, when you try to request a ride on the app and it's outside the zone, it doesn't let you. But I mean, we can do a survey, you know, right on the app itself, right on the bottom, where you can click, hey, click here for, you know, you can do an entire survey there and collect that data.
Right, and when this map actually goes forward, I know you guys do collect and are very good at collecting data. If you can collect for us, if it's possible, how much trip activity is actually being generated to the new area, because maybe that will give us some ideas of whether we need to adjust or not.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to suggest, and you know, it's up to you guys, but we can design the technology where the ride has to either start or end within West Miami in order to be eligible, so that people outside of West Miami aren't just using it to, you know.
That would be really good, because that's one of my big concerns with this
Mm-hmm.
massive swath, you know, of residential areas, is that people start
Exactly.
realizing that they can take it around their neighborhood, and then
Right.
and then we lose it to up there.
So we'll build it in a fact where, you know, the ride either has to start or end within the city of West Miami in order to be an eligible ride. So, you know, you can request from your home and go to any of those locations. You could be at that location coming back, but if you're a resident that lives outside of West Miami and you just want to use the service,
That's
it
great.
wouldn't work.
That's great.
Yeah, it tried to not pick me up from Mago 2 times already, but it's okay. I just called directly to the driver.
There we go.
Hey, you just dropped me off. Can you pick me up? It says I'm out of the area, but I know that was a glitch.
Yes, definitely a glitch, but with this new area, it won't be glitching anymore.
Thank you. I kind of laughed. I called Mr. Penna. Mr. Penna, and I need a ride back. No, just kidding. I called the number, and it was wonderful. Your drivers are fantastic, and I love the service.
Well, we
And
really
I'm very,
appreciate
very
that.
happy that it's being so successful here in our city.
Yes, and it's growing, which is
Good.
great.
Good. Excellent. Thank you, Jason.
Well, thank you,
Again,
guys.
sorry for you coming up here so late.
It's okay. It's okay. You guys have another more hour or so, right?
Yeah, well, probably. Thank you, Jason. Anything else for Jason, Madam Manager?
Congratulations on your recent nuptials.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now go home to your wife, would you?
I will.
Bye.
Have a great night, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Okay, Madam Clerk, I think we can go back to the order of the agenda.
Yes, going back is item 6, report of the city manager.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the City Commission. Late this afternoon, I prepared a report for your ready reference. The report includes the following item. Late this afternoon, Evelyn Paz came to see me, our Community Center Director, to advise me that as out of 64 West Miami clients who attend the congregate meal or have registered at some point, only 38 senior citizens have expressed willingness to return to the community center as of June 1st, within the next week or 10 days. 10 clients of West Miami seniors have been moved to the home delivered program because they will not be able to return for medical reasons or physical impairments, and they're not going to be able to return at all. And then some 16 others have advised that they are not returning. They've either moved in with their children or family members, or have sold their properties and plan to move out or have moved out. 4 of the 38 seniors who are willing to return will require transportation from the city and are able to ride the bus. The others have expressed that they have means of transportation as they did before, and they would like to continue those means of transportation. Again, these numbers represent only West Miami clients as of today in the afternoon. It seems that the home delivered program has become a better option post-COVID for many of our seniors. Some have passed over the last 15 months or moved out, like I said. We'll be reaching out to our non-West Miami clients to conduct an assessment the same way because they're part of our congregate program. And that's the next phase of the assessment. These numbers were provided to us this afternoon, as previously mentioned, by Evelyn Paz. And we will have to get creative and address these numbers, and perhaps we'll have to take a look at reinventing our program at some point. That's on the community center. Passports. As you know, it's been overwhelming, the applications for passports that the office has been processing for the last 6 to 8 weeks. We've been extremely busy, despite of changes that we have made to the hours of operation. The team has worked very long hours, and while they are being compensated, their work also has generated approximately $80,000 to $90,000 of income, probably starting as late as March to the present moment in time. And that's over the last few months. I don't know where people are going, but certainly they're coming in droves. As a result of this, my office today made a decision to go out to an appointment-based system that starts Monday, May 24th. We have had numerous conversations with the Miami Passport Agency, and we have formally notified them that we can no longer handle the volume of passports and that it's best to go to an appointment-based system. We will be talking to them about possibly going on a web-based appointment methodology and the option of people calling in and requesting appointments. While revenues will decrease, it's time to find a true balance between passports and city business. All the changes will be posted and in keeping with the Miami Passport Agency guidelines. Does anybody have any questions on this issue? The 2021-2022 city budget is knocking on our door again. We're preparing to meet with the finance director next week with the department directors to discuss the preparation of the City of West Miami budget for fiscal year commencing October 1st, 2021 through September 30th, 2022. This said, the Office of Property Appraiser will deliver the preliminary estimates for the tax rolls on June 1st as prescribed by law. This estimate will provide us with an estimate of the tax roll growth so that we can commence our work in connection with the preliminary budget presentation that will be coming before you on July 21st, 2021. We will also be requesting meetings with the mayor and members of the city commission individually to discuss programs and the budget after June 1st. The American Recovery Act, no further information has been received. I don't know if the mayor or any other member of the commission has received any information on the American Recovery Act as of today. We have signed in by using our SAMS number, and we will communicate any information on the funding as soon as those are published. Next item is Memorial Day. As customary, the City Hall will be closed to all non-essential services on Monday, May 31st, 2021, observing the holiday, the Memorial Day holiday. And police and garbage collection will be uninterrupted, and we will publish the proper and appropriate notices. Additionally, we will be ordering the traditional wreath to be placed in front of City Hall, honoring our fallen heroes, our heroes. So if you have any questions on any of these matters or any other matter, please let me know.
Thank you for that report, Madam Manager.
You're welcome.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item 7, report of the city attorney.
There's no report by the city attorney.
Item 8, report of the city engineer.
Frankie, you're still here.
He loves us.
Good evening.
Thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. Yeah, I figured I'd come in. It's my first time back, so it's nice to be back after what seems like years of online meetings and It's still going on in my day-to-day work, and we're trying to get back to the in-person stuff, but man, the fatigue has beyond set in, so.
That's why we're back here in
It's nice to
person.
see that we're all back here in person. I don't have much to report tonight, but it was good to be here and just see, kind of some of the issues that have been coming up, issues that we've, like you mentioned, that we've discussed, that they're, like everything, there's engineering solutions to things that we can look at. So we'll certainly be doing that. In terms of the report, the only ongoing project, as you all know, of course, the water project. As I reported in the last meeting, really no real change from that. We're still on track to finish up next month. And we're pushing the contractor as much as possible. They've been having trouble, as I mentioned last month, in those rear easements, getting all this stuff done. But it's getting done, and we're gonna get there. And as soon as they're done with all those connections, restoration will be complete, and the project will be done, and we'll be able to move on to the next phase. So so far it's been successful, and we're almost there. But they've done well. Overall, I think we've met our schedules and our budgets, and the project will be finished up here soon. The other project kind of in the pipeline is the expansion at the rec center that we've been working on. So that should be coming up before you soon. That's pretty ready to go out to bid. And
I did speak to, if I may, Madam Mayor, I did speak to Mr. Ruano today. We're going to schedule a budget meeting so that we can prepare the budget for the commencement package, which is due to the state on the LWCF grant, which is part of that weight room expansion to the recreation center. And that project is about $400,000, give or take, worth of work, correct?
Yeah, correct.
$200,000 coming from impact fees and $200,000 coming from the grant. So we have that meeting coming up.
so that one's been in the works for quite some time, so it'll be nice
4
to
years.
see another one come out. Yeah.
Thank you, Frank.
All right. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
See you next meeting.
Yep.
Good night.
Madam Clerk, next item, please.
Item 9, committee reports. Report of the mayor.
I don't have anything this evening.
Any other committee?
Nothing? Go ahead, next item.
Item 10, under unfinished business. Item 10A, Madam Mayor, the city manager has received a request by Tony Newell to defer this item until late August or early September of this year.
Thank you.
So this item is
That'll
deferred.
be deferred.
Next item would be item 11E. This is a resolution of the mayor and city commission of the city of West Miami authorizing the city manager to execute 3 change orders with Magog Inc. Change order number 1 in the amount of $1,748. Change order number 2 for $3,800, and change order number 3 for $5,400 for a total amount of $10,948 for the City of West Miami potable water main improvement project, providing for funding from the contractor's contingency funds and providing for effective date.
Mayor?
Go right
as-
ahead, sir.
As part of the contract that we have on the potable water, we set aside 10% of the total contract for change orders. And these are items that have been encountered in connections with our system. As you know, our system's very old, and sometimes, although our plans show it may have a valve there, when they actually dig it up, there's no valve. So these are expenses that they have incurred in the connection of the old system to the new system.
Thank you, sir. Sorry, you got me in the middle of a sip of water. Thank you, Mr. Penna. I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Call the vote.
Yes, Commissioner Blanca, how do you vote? Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Suarez?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Thank you. Next item.
Item 11F, selection of budget hearings dates for the 2021-2022 city budgets.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the City Commission. In following the trim calendar, we presented you with a template calendar of the next few months so we can walk you through the dates that we believe are the dates that comply with the budget process. My office will be submitting the preliminary budget on July 21st. Now, we have an opportunity to keep it within the regular city commission agenda at 7:30 p.m. or having a special meeting at 6 o'clock p.m. to submit the preliminary budget and continue on later at 7:30 with your regular commission meeting. Because this is a submittal, it's pretty much a preliminary and tentative approvals so that we can start the process to prepare for our September hearings. So I don't know how you want to treat this.
What dates were you looking at?
July 21st, 2021, either at 6 p.m. or at part of the regular city commission meeting at 7:30 p.m.
I'd rather do it as part of the meeting, because if it goes quickly, then we're going to be here at 6 o'clock and have to wait till 7:30 for the meeting.
Okay,
So
so
let's do it-
incorporate
let's
that one
incorporate in the meeting.
in your regular city commission agenda.
Correct. July 21st?
July 21st, that's the submittal, preliminary submittal.
Okay.
Okay, and we have to also, we put the other meetings here for Miami-Dade County Public Schools along with the school board meetings, because it's a reminder that we cannot hold our meetings the day that those two agencies hold their budget meetings. That being said, we move on to the month of September. I know we have a calendar for August. There's usually one meeting in August where the commission decides to recess. Madam Mayor, I think we spoke about this earlier, or early last week, and we agreed that perhaps it would be good to cancel the August 18th meeting, as we generally do one meeting during the month of August for a recess.
Correct.
It's up to the commission if they wish to accept this proposal.
Correct.
And now moving...
All in favor? All in favor? Aye.
Thank
Accepted.
you. Moving on to September, now we get into the public hearings for the city budget. We're proposing to have our tentative budget hearing and a special commission meeting at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, September 8th at 6 p.m. and then a regular city commission meeting at 7:30. Or the same, incorporate the tentative budget hearing into your city commission meeting agenda.
I'd like to incorporate it again, Madam Manager.
Okay.
September 8th, no, September 8th then?
Wednesday, September 8th.
At 7:30.
At 7:30.
And then we'll still have the regular meeting on the 15th, or we'll cancel one of those meetings?
Okay, the 15th
That doesn't
is
take
a
the-
regularly scheduled commission meeting, and I would recommend that you cancel that one, and then we can have a special city commission meeting.
On the 8th?
And on the 22nd, and there's an error in the calendar.
Wait, so our budget submittal is going to be September the 8th at 7:30?
The
That's
8th.
the special meeting?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
No, that would be, I'm sorry, there's an error on the calendar, the way I see it. Okay.
We have a meeting September 1st, that's the first meeting?
Right,
Okay, so
right.
we have a regular commission meeting on September 1.
Right.
So
We
when
can
do you-
have-
when do you want to have the
Okay,
budget, the
we
special
could,
budget?
let me
submittal?
go back to that. We can have it September 1st, which is a Wednesday. We can have the first tentative public hearing on the city budget.
On the 1st?
On the 1st.
At our regular meeting?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, so we will move that, and that correction will be made. And then we will have the final budget hearing on the 15th, if that is acceptable with the commission, as part of your regular city commission meeting agenda.
Perfect. All in
At
favor?
7:30.
All in favor? Aye.
We will make the corrections and send you calendars, and then I'll get with the clerk about the legal notices that we have to prepare before the final budget hearing.
Perfect.
Okay.
Elliot, did you get those dates?
The
You heard-
1st and the 15th.
Okay, perfect.
Right now, I believe on this first.
Well, the final is on the 15th.
Scheduled
So we'll see you on the 15th then. Perfect. So
We'll save you a
see,
copy of
we'll
the
see you at the
budget.
preliminary as well. Preliminary and final.
Preliminary is the first, I don't think I'll be here.
Oh, you're right, I'm sorry. No, July 21 is what, Madam Manager?
I'm
July
sorry?
21 is preliminary, Elliot.
Preliminary submittal of the city
Is
budget.
July 21.
July
The
21st.
first is tentative, so we see you at preliminary and at final. Excellent, okay, perfect. All right, perfect. We have those dates set, Madam Manager.
And on the 22nd, Madam Manager, the time of the meeting is 6 o'clock? or-
No, the 22nd, no, it's the 15th.
I'm sorry, the 15th.
7:30.
7:30, okay.
Both, they're all at 7:30.
At 7:30, okay.
Correct, Madam Manager? They're all at 7:30?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yes.
That's what
all
you
right.
have requested.
Perfect, okay. Here we go. Next item.
Item 11G, discussion in reference to possibility of increasing the height of fences, hedges in rear yards. This item is sponsored by Commissioner Blanes.
Take it away, sir.
I have no intention of proposing to increasing the height of fences, but I do propose increasing the height of hedges. I don't know why fences was included in here.
Thank you for that correction.
I think
Okay.
this would be a policing issue, and I don't think it would be a good idea. But I think hedges, and, allowing for the increase in height of hedges is something that we should discuss. Change is inevitable. We are always going to have change. You're going to have younger families moving in with their families. Within my immediate area, there's 2 pools that are being built, and people, would want to have more privacy in their backyard. Enjoy their pool, enjoy their yard. So, as long as the hedge is maintained and is cut and is trimmed, it cannot look, crazy, like a crazy haircut. But as long as the hedge is maintained within reason, and, I was thinking, maybe a height of 7 feet or maybe 8 feet. Maybe Mr. Pena can chime in and see what would be a correct height where the resident can have some privacy, and at the same time, we can maintain our neighborhood, nice neighborhood status.
Thank you,
so-
Commissioner. Mr. Penna?
The reason why fences was included in that description is because it's when hedges are used as fences that affects the
Right.
ordinance.
Right.
And presently, we have 6 in the rear and 4 in the front. I would tell you it's not enforced to the letter of the law, if you go by and look, but it's mostly because people keep them nice and they're doing it for their own privacy. City of Coral Gables allows up to 8 feet in the rear and 6 feet in the front.
Yeah, okay, another correction. This is all meant on the rear,
Correct.
not the front.
Correct.
So,
But that's just to show you what the neighboring city has.
Okay.
They have 6 and 8, we have 4 and 6. So
Okay.
it's up to you what you
I
decide.
think maybe we should consider what our neighbors to the east are doing, allowing for a height of 8 feet in the rear.
You're talking about the hedges.
Hedges.
Yes, hedges.
Plants.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Hedges, I agree with that. In the rear.
Just in the rear.
But then the code enforcement have to keep the maintenance.
Yeah.
Okay.
And talking about fences, I don't know.
Well,
if this-
let's,
No, I'm talking about hedges.
Let's
Hedges. I agree with you in the hedges.
Okay, all right.
okay, all in favor for Commissioner Blanes' proposal here, and what the Public Works, Mr. Penna, on hedges, 6 in the front, 8 in the back. All in favor?
No, 4 in the front. No.
No. Oh, so we're,
just the
because
back.
you said Gables had 6 and 8, so we're not doing that. So you want to do
Just the back.
just back, 8 in the back. Hedges. Yes, that's it?
Hedges, not fences.
Okay. Hedges, 8 in the back. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, you
know,
wanted to
in-
discuss
yeah,
fences.
in
I
reference-
wanted to
Yeah.
finish hedges before I didn't want it to get convoluted and mixed up. Now we're on to
In reference
fences.
to fences, we've talked about this in the past, and, you know, now you have composite materials that are actually better than wood. You know, I think that the only type of fencing we allow is metal and wood. I think that, and we've been talking about this, and I'm not sure why it hasn't been, you know, resolved, but we need to change the ordinance to allow, you know, for these composite materials to be used. You know, they look better than wood and metal, and they will last longer. The other issue is, I did discuss this with the city manager, is some corner lots have the frontage of the property to the avenue, but the front door was placed on the street side. You know, I live in a corner lot. I don't fall into that type of situation. But there's other properties that for some reason, you know, they're misconfigured at the corner. You know, they have the front of the home supposed to be on the street, but the door is on the avenue. So when they want to put a fence in their backyard, you know, they come to realize that, well, that's not your backyard. That's
Your side.
That's your
Exterior
front
side yard.
That's your
Exterior
front.
side.
That's supposed to be your front door. So then they have to. I believe they have to apply for a variance, and they have to come from the planning and zoning, and so on and so forth. I think that we need to change the ordinance to where, you know, these types of situations will qualify, you know, for getting a permit to have a fence built on whatever side. So, I mean, I don't know if this can be done, Mr. Attorney. Can you look into that to see if we can save these residents?
Well, actually, going back to your first comment, the zoning board did look at all the different materials that are allowed now under the county ordinances by product approval in order to meet hurricane strengths. And they recommended a bunch of them, or most of them, to add to our ordinance. Mr. Villalobos and I have to put that ordinance now together and bring it here for you to adopt.
Fantastic.
In the meantime, to add to what Mr. Penna provided to me, in your email this evening, you will find all the fence materials that the zoning board went through. And I've sent it to you as a PDF document because it's a very thick document. And so you will find it in your email tonight, so you could go over it, you know, at your leisure to start deciding what you think is best. Now, the reason why it's not before you in the agenda is because if you're going to make changes or considering to make changes to the hedges or any other fencing issue, I think that the time to amend the ordinance would be everything at the same time.
Agreed.
That would be two ordinances.
Right,
Because one deals only with fences and the other one deals only with hedges.
correct. But it's the same section of the 282 that we're changing.
No. The ordinance, remember, the ordinance for fences got changed in 2003. That's not incorporated into 282.
It's codified now. Okay,
So we need to amend this ordinance, 2003-01,
okay,
and we need to amend Section 7 of the 282
282.
ordinance.
Okay.
Mr. Pena, don't leave.
And
If
can
I
we-
could, if
can
I
we
could
all-
piggyback, I'm sorry.
Can we also look into the corner lot situation properties?
That will be done under the 2003
Okay,
scenario.
all right.
Don't leave. If I could piggyback on Commissioner Blanes's topic here. If you recall, it's been a couple of months. I think I talked to both you and the city manager. We have a lot of ordinances that we need to update. Remember, we had this conversation. There's a lot of different things we need to look at and bring them up to the current time. So if you could continue to look into that for me and see which ordinances you think we should prioritize to update. So I want to be proactive, you know, before these residents come to us and they want to make a change, and our ordinances from, you know, from the 1800s. So if you could get on that. I know we talked about it, but I know some other priorities have come forward, and we had to put that on the back burner. If we could move it to one of the front burners, I would very much appreciate that.
And a bigger stove.
We'll give
and
him
bigger
a,
stove.
we'll give him a fast pass.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
You got a fast pass to accomplish that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, my eyes are kind of blurry.
Yes,
all right, let's see.
item 12.
Next item.
Item 12, consent agenda items.
All in favor, does anyone want to pull it? All in favor of consent agenda item?
Let me make a comment on this particular item, Madam Mayor.
Then you want to pull it?
Okay.
Go right ahead.
Well, I cannot pull it. I mean,
Okay.
you can pull it.
Okay. What's your?
The issue is this, that I have been advised by the
Well,
bank.
let me pull it, sir. Let me be sure. I'm pulling it for discussion upon the attorney's advice.
This is just a report from my office, okay?
Okay.
I have been personally advised by the bank that they require a bond counsel letter for some reason, which I do not understand. As a matter of fact, I received a call by one of the bank's lawyer stating that he wanted to converse with me about hiring a bond counsel on this particular item. I advised the manager, and she in turn spoke to one of the officials of the bank, which is going beyond the recommendation of whoever called me from the bank, stating that they wanted a bond counsel. What I'm trying to do is avoid any cost to the city by saying that this loan is merely a loan and not necessarily a bond. Because if you need a bond, you have to pay for bond counsel. Okay?
Very quickly on that, Mr. Attorney, I know that, and I don't know if we can do it because it might be a conflict, but I know that you in the past have been bond counsel.
Yes, I have.
For different entities. Is if they do require that, are we eligible to extend to you know, instead of paying an outside firm, pay you for that work?
Yes, as a matter of fact, we have had in the past, my office have represented the city as bond counsel. We have used either myself or Peter Dame from as bond counsel, but what I'm trying to do is save money for the city. And again, I'm talking against myself, but I think that I should bring it out to the commission in order for you to be aware that this might be a fact.
Well, is this something we should even vote on tonight then? Should we
Sorry?
wait? Is this something we should even vote on tonight?
No.
Or should
well,
we wait until you?
As a matter of fact, there's no, you see, the item in the agenda is for the commission to authorize the manager to execute documents, number one, to purchase a truck, and number two, to finance it.
So it has nothing to do with what you
No.
just spoke of?
Nothing
The
to
only
do, but it might,
change-
the reason that I'm saying is that there is a report that if they do require it, I'm forced to do it.
Okay, that doesn't prevent us from voting on this
No.
tonight? Okay, thank you.
No,
That's
the
what I needed
only
to know.
change, just to clarify why this resolution is back before you, is we were under initially the impression that we were purchasing a 2021 garbage truck. We are actually purchasing a 2022. And the bank has brought it to our attention. I went back to the salesperson. They corrected the year, make, model, VIN, everything on the truck, and the bank wanted the resolution updated.
Nothing else changes? Just
Nothing
the fact
else.
it's a 2022
2021
truck?
to 2022.
All the numbers are the same?
Everything is the same.
Thank you. I need a motion?
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, Commissioner Suarez, how do you vote?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanes?
Yes.
Commissioner Blanca? Vice Mayor Diaz-Padrón?
Yes.
Mayor Rodriguez?
Yes.
5-0, item passes.
Next item is a
Item
good of the
13, good of the
order.
order.
I have nothing for
That's
the
it.
good of the order. Thank you all for your patience this evening. Excellent job. This meeting is adjourned.
Good evening.